So let's take Panchsutra first discussion. Hope that you may have done better, and if not, so you can work on your weak areas and improve them. We have been talking about the 3 rounds approach, although it can be 2 rounds also. Although it is not important that you should adhere to a particular strategy, but yet that tried and tested strategy many a time work, and you can adopt to that strategy. So as we have been talking that calculate your hit rate in each section, that what was your hit rate level of preparation, and try to know that why you did mistakes in that question. Each question counts, you know that. To work on your improvement rather than just merely writing this mock, that mock test. Let's say there are so many mock tests nowadays we have. So culture should not be to just simply write mock tests. Culture should be to write limited one, but effectively work on them. The areas which you have problems, silly mistakes that we can consider, misreading of the statement, correct and incorrect mistake, coloring mistake can be, or conceptually, let's say knowledge wise, technically not very clear on that, or the framing of the sentence that you fail to clearly understand. So there can be several such factors not necessarily relating to your knowledge. That is what we have been talking, that you can improve 10 to 20% without necessarily improving your knowledge relating to prelims, you can say. So that is how we can consider. So if you follow your 3 rounds approach, like let's give first round try to see 30-40 questions, second round 20-30 questions, third round 10-20 questions, and see where you are doing mistakes and which round is, let's say, playing a critical role, whether it is first round playing, second round playing, third round playing. So that way, or if you are trying just in one go to solve, not a problem. That way, at the end of the day, we are concerned that you should cross 87 marks, the benchmark. The 87 to 90, 92, that should be your range. If you are getting by anyhow, not a problem. No. So let's take that in this, what we told in this Panchsutra first, we have given focus to, in polity section, we have given focus to largely institutions related questions, plus few questions we have added on representation of people act. So that one area we have focused. In next, let's say second Panchsutra, we'll focus on some other areas. That way we have tried basically for polity section. So this question is a simple one. First question we kept simple, and all the 3 options are correct because it is also factual question. You may have done first question, D option. Now, this is a bit tricky question, you know that, and when it is a tricky question, so the question comes that what you should have in this. So tricky question is a bit micro level question. This Anglo-Indian community, that which commission deals with Anglo-Indian community safeguards. Now with this question you may not be having knowledge about that. Now you have to guess. And in guessing, so let's say that you have to eliminate which commission can be given. So it is basically, let's say it can be use your intuition that which commission you will. So it is not the question in first round. You should go for this your second round. You should simply skip it because you don't know its exact question. In first round you should generally follow those questions which you have 100% sure that it is correct. But let me tell you what you should have done. So basically you may be able to eliminate at least one. This you can. Then you can also you will be able to eliminate at least this. Why? Because let's say special officer for linguistic minority, the minority, let's say, officer cannot be given a task of Anglo-Indian community, let's say. And this was created later on, National Commission for Backward Classes, created later on, you know that. This called 1993 Indira Sahni judgment, and then finally we have given constitutional status. Now we have two such commissions. So when we have two such commissions, so remember that originally it will be related to the constitution somehow, constitutional body, let's say, so how you should go, because scheduled tribe was created later on, but Anglo-Indian was mentioned in the constitution itself. So if you go into that level of thinking and relating, so you will zero in on this. So then you will be able to eliminate, and that is how you can go by option B, this, which is correct for this. If you talk that although Anglo-Indian community, let's say 104th Amendment Act has been brought, that no representation, but still they have some members, and for their safeguards the responsibility has been given to National Commission for Scheduled Caste, and that should be the correct option. Then consider, let's say, statement regarding special officer of linguistic minority. So basically it was not part of, it is a factual question. So your factual knowledge, it is being tested. This office was part of original Constitution of India, not, it was added by 7th Amendment Act, it is incorrect. The officer is appointed by the President of India. Yes, it is true, let's say. Officer submits annual report. No, it is also not correct. This you should know. So only two options. Option A will be considered even this correct. Then commission, it is a simple question. We have tried to have a right blend, let's say. It is a simple question that you can attempt governor where the report is submitted, largely governor and president as the respective case may be. So it is a simple question that yes, still some people can do some silly mistakes in the such simple questions, as they cannot believe that such question can be asked. This now, in this also, suppose let's say that you are aware or you are not aware, both aspects you can consider. So suppose you do not know, you have to eliminate. This is a question also you should attempt in your second attempt. If you do not know clear option, this first round, it is not a first round type question. You know this, it is submitted to president. You know it is also submitted to president. Now we have, let's say that two such bodies, but it is also, let's say National Commission for Minority, it will come in terms of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe minority. Largely reports are submitted to president this way. So then you should have eliminated this Election Commission of India, that it is Election Commission of India. So you can even, let's say, go in first round if you are able to eliminate, otherwise leave it for the second round, so that the 50-50, when we have 50-50, so this way you can try to eliminate and make the option correct. Now, it is a question related to, let's say, various laws which recently, let's say, Representation of People Act, various laws which have been in news. So suppose you do not know, you should not again attempt in first. You will not know, suppose you should not attempt in first round, second round. You should not attempt in first round. You should not attempt in second round. You should take risk only in third round. Suppose you do not know about them. This, you have to take risk what you should do. In such questions, since lots of factuals are given, so you can do guessing also. You can take risk and you can do a guessing of all four. This. So that way we can consider Representation of People Act. It is related to delimitation. You know that what happens before election is dealt by Representation of People Act 1950. What happens after election or during election, that way you should think. So what happens before election, what happens during and after election. So that way you can distinguish between 1950 and 1951. So 1950 deals with what happens before election, 1951 deals with what happens during and after election. The delimitation is done before election, registration is done for political party related to, let's say, election, symbol order, it is allocated and conduct, let's say, basically this. So all four are correct. Just we are trying to make you familiar with different types of laws as it has been in news because of SIR, and that was the objective behind this question. Now, this is a question which is testing your knowledge related to Lokpal. The chairperson can be removed if you are clearly knowing that the chairperson is removed by president, not only by a motion. This pass, it is not chairperson or Lokpal is not, it is incorrect. You can say Lokpal is removed by president. It is not needed that there should be special majority in parliament. Now, petition signed by at least 100 members. So, it is correct. If you see the process, it deals with process, let's say that. Process, if you have read, let's see clearly, so it is process, it is correct. And then let's say matter is referred, this is how. There are some bodies where matters are referred to Supreme Court, and when Supreme Court gives view, that view becomes binding. This is should know. It is including, let's say UPSC also you can consider in case of Central Information Commission also you can consider. The option 2 and 3 are correct, so this is B. But suppose you are not sure about second and third. When you are not sure about second and third, so you should go for, this is a question you should attempt in your second round. This now, selection committee, the question we have asked related to selection committee, and it is a bit complex question combining all those bodies. So, Chief Justice of India is a member, you know that he is a member of both selection committee, Lokpal and CBI, so it is a correct statement. Ministry of Home Affairs is also, let's say, a member of both, it is also a correct statement. Then Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, you know that, is not. Basically, it is incorrect, you know that. This Central Information Commission, this, rather here also we have Union Minister, let's say it is considered. So basically, let's say first and second option, it will go by this option A in this question. So you see the answer in the explanation we have given, those explanation will talk about different committees. So that way you can improve your knowledge if you have been lagging, or if you already know, so it is not a problem, it is good. In this question, if you take, so it is related to Conditions of Services Act of Election Commission of India. So if you have read very, let's say clearly and in-depth reading you have done, so selection committee is, let's say this is how the power, it has power to consider individuals not included in panel prepared by search committee. That's basically selection committee is not bound by search committee recommendations. It can consider names from outside. Then let's say vacancies, let's say invalidate. So no, it cannot be invalidated. Even if there is vacancy in selection committee, still there can be names can be recommended. And it prohibits, it is correct, you know this, prohibits for reappointment of Chief Election Commissioner. So it is correct, it is correct, it is incorrect. So correct option will be B. Now it is related to RTI. So you know that RTI Act, so we are testing your some past knowledge. So under this original it was at par with this election commissioner. So our chief election commissioner, CIC status was equal to chief election commissioner. But then it was reduced. Know that it is also correct. Amendment empowers central government. Basically, you should know that the status has not been clearly defined. Rather, it has been left to the central government to define. This you can consider. Plus, yes, it is also correct because it takes away, since remuneration has been reduced, the conditions related to remuneration has been taken away so that they can derive more remuneration. This is also correct despite changes, yes. So all four you can consider, all four options. Now, it is a bit challenging for you that how to eliminate, and if you are not clear, then you should go by second round or third round to take risk. Then it is related to tribunals. So if you have a clear knowledge about tribunals, so tribunals have power to summon and force until, let's say, it is correct. Civil court, basically it is a power of civil court. They are not bound by, let's say, code of procedure. They have judicial proceedings. It is also correct. And tribunals can review their own decision. Yes, they have power to review. Statute law provides it. Now let's say that it is testing your something in-depth knowledge. Do you have that level of knowledge, that level of clarity, let's say, related to tribunals? If you lack clarity, then you should do guessing, not attempting in first. If you have clarity, you can go. Even you go by, let's say that 1 and 2, let's say that this, and third you are doubtful. So you should know that condition has been given. Statute provides. Statute provides, so it has inclination towards being correct statement, because already there is a condition put in the statement. So because of that, it will be all the 3 options. Now, it is related to ministry, that their location in the ministry. So suppose that again, if you are aware, you may be familiar with at least Central Administrative Tribunal. The Central Administrative Tribunal, if you are aware, it comes under Ministry of Personnel. This CAT, which you largely you may be, then let's say 2 options are eliminated. Now you have 2 options. So if you do not have clear knowledge, then you should not attempt in first round. If you have, because if you are able to eliminate at least one, then you are getting the answer. This. So B का देखना है कि whether 3 or 1. The B is National Company Law Tribunal. The National Company Law Tribunal will be related to which ministry deals with company affairs? Corporate affair, if you have general awareness. So that is how, let's say, if you go by B to 3, then you will be able to eliminate. Even in first round you can do, no need to read this entire, let's say, for all the 4 matching, and that way, let's say, option A is correct. Now, again we have asked related to, since SIR is going on, so we want to test you from different perspective. Whether you are clear, you have read on SIR, like special intensive revision. Basically, elections are, let's say, electoral rolls are reviewed, etc. As we have told you that it is related to before election. So if it is related to before election, so this is eliminated. Suppose you do not know, so it is eliminated. It is plenary power, you know that. It is a macro level. It will certainly not give details of how elections are conducted. It will give only general level of power. So then it is also, let's say that this laws, let's say that mandates the electoral roll shall be revised, prescribed manner. So basically it is not only, it is not empower, it is prescribed manner, if you say this. It will not be this, because it gives a general mandate. But we have to talk about the manner, the detailed process and procedure provided by which law. So you will have, let's say, 2 options. Then you have to tell that these rules, if you have knowledge that rules are framed on the basis of act. So certainly this act will give mandate, this act will give mandate for this rule. This, and therefore, let's say you can eliminate by this way, option this C, and even in first round it can be attempted. If you are not finding challenging, go for your second round. This. Now again we have given about SIR related, all those developments have happened. Here, let's say if you have, at least you may be knowing about booth level officer. The booth level officer, you may be aware that he visits field to field, that you can eliminate this. Now you may have district, let's say, so you may have doubt about this, what you should do. So first round you leave, third round you go, second round you go, take risk. And generally in such questions you should go, as I have been telling, you go by this all 4 and see that whether you are getting more correct or more incorrect. That way also you can take risk. In such questions generally we go by, because generally it is intuition or let's say inclination is that since it is difficult micro to give all the statements as correct. So basically BLO, this officer has, ERO has the power to basically statutory power to delete, include, deletion, inclusion power is, that was let's say quite in debate recently. Let's say this is the main officer, you should remember, ERO, responsible for inclusion and deletion. The supervision or appeal can be done to district election officer, and this is the state level officer. All the 4 options are correct. Then we have tested your another level of knowledge, let's say Gram Panchayat, Sarpanch, let's say certainly these office, here you don't have to see method, you let's say largely you have to see this, whether they are matching this way. So whether they are matching decided by state law or not, mandated by constitution, and this. So when it is mandated by constitution, it is indirect, and it will be decided by the state governments as per the state legislature, so direct, indirect, this has been left to the state. Again in this case all the 3 options are correct, this, that way. So if you know challenge in only, let's say challenge is only that elimination may not work. So that may demand a bit better clarity of your knowledge related to whatever the section you have, be it polity, economy, etc. And that way you can deal. So thereafter economy will start. So that is how you can consider about. So learn it, learn from what we can consider such questions, your attempts, and try to improve in next Panchsutra. And try to let's say reduce your errors that you did in terms of silly errors, reading mistakes, coloring the let's say that OMR sheet mistake, let's say lack of elimination, let's say you could have eliminated but you did not. Your intuition, see, observe which intuition it works, whether when you go for first time B, so it is B, or when you go for C, so it is C. That way you can, let's say that work on precision, you should have precision in decision making. So prelims is testing also your precision in decision making, how perfect decision you can take when there are 4 options given as per your knowledge, common sense and elimination. So all the best.
Hello everyone. So this is the Panchsutra test 1 discussion. So all of you may have given this test. Those who haven't given, so you have the question paper downloaded from the description of this video, and try to solve these quality questions. See the explanations also, and surely give the next Panchsutra test. Now we are going to discuss the geography question. So I will give you brief idea about last 4-5 years how UPSC is approaching to this particular part of your syllabus. So mostly you can see that the questions from geography, 3-4 questions, they are directly from the NCERT 11th standard NCERT physical geography, and they are asking like assertion and reason type of question, statement 1 and statement 2. They are asking whether statement 2 is explaining statement 1 or not. So 2-3 questions will be like that only, especially from climatology and oceanography. Likewise also we have added, let's say, concept based questions here. And there will be questions related to, we can say that some minerals, energy resources also, 1 or 2 questions, 1 questions from the crops also, and 3 to 4 questions from the mapping section, including your places in news. So we have also tried to frame in that manner only, and I would like to highlight that mapping questions, if you don't know, do not attempt those questions. It is the mantra, we can say, for the geography section, because you can see that the regions they are asking, the places they are asking in the question, they are like out of your current affairs preparation that you have been doing for last 1.5 year. तो कोई compilation में आपको coaching के मिलेगा भी नहीं, ऐसे कुछ places वो पूछ रहा है, तो why to attempt such kind of question, and that too when there is no scope for elimination method. So yes, let's solve these MCQs one by one, and I will be telling you कैसे question previous year में आया हुआ है. Like I have been telling in this 1 year particularly that last 3-4 years they haven't asked question on local winds. Okay, so we are going to expect this question. Why? Because in past there has been several question on local winds. ठीक है, तो लोकल विंड्स पे जरूर क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. इस तरीके से आ सकता है कि कौन से हॉट विंड्स है, वार्म विंड्स है, कौन से कोल्ड विंड्स है. सो यू प्रिपेयर दिस फ्रॉम स्पेशली आई वुड से दैट जीसी लियोंग बुक. ठीक है, तो वहाँ पे काफ़ी अच्छे से दिया हुआ है, स्पेशली दोज लोकल विंड्स अराउंड द मेडिटेरेनियन रीजन। तो देखते हैं, ठीक है, तो चिनुक, यस वी कॉल इट एज अ स्नो बीटर, कहाँ पे है ये, नॉर्थ अमेरिका में है, और ये वार्म विंड है या कोल्ड विंड है। तो हमें पता है कि जब हम बोल रहे हैं कि इट इज स्नो ईटर, तो बेसिकली इट इज अ warm wind that is flowing from, we can say that, western region of Rockies towards the eastern region, which is, we can say, largely the snow bound and going to melt that snow. So ये क्या है, warm wind है। तो उसी तरीके से फोन भी है, बट ये एल्प्स में है, ठीक है, एंड सदर्न स्लोप से ये नदर्न स्लोप्स की तरफ जा रहा है, सो ये भी एक वार्म विंड है। बट मिस्ट्रल, it is, we can say that, the cold wind, and we can say that Pampero, it is in South America, Argentina, so it is also cold wind। तो ये दो नहीं है, यहाँ पे देखिए कि warm winds की बात हो रही है, so only 2 is the correct answer here, B is the correct answer। So be prepared for this local winds, right? Next, very simple from geomorphology question. So we discuss this when we learn about, we can say that interior of the earth, and we see that earth's interior is not continuous, or the composition is not continuous. So there are discontinuities, right? And we learn about these discontinuities. Like for example, I will say highlight from, let's say, from the earth's surface towards the interior, Conrad discontinuity between, we can say that, the outer crust and inner crust, or simply we can say continental crust and oceanic crust, ऐसे भी हम बोल सकते हैं। Then we can say that between crust and upper mantle there is, we can say that, Mohoric discontinuity। तो यहाँ पे देखिए crust and mantle के बीच में पहला पेयर जो है वो सही है, right? It is correctly matched, and we have to identify correctly matched। Then between, we can say that, the upper mantle and lower mantle, it is, we can say that, Rapiti, ठीक है, तो between upper and lower mantle it is Rapiti। Now between lower mantle and outer core, we can say that it is the Gutenberg discontinuity, and between outer core and inner core it is Lehmann discontinuity। तो यहाँ पे देखिए lower mantle and outer core बोल रहा है, but this is not the Lehmann is outer core and inner core discontinuity। तो ये जो है incorrect है, तो again it is, we can say that, only 2 is the correct answer here, right? B is the correct answer, all right। Now again we can say that from the interior of the earth, and question on rocks। So rocks, minerals, it is a combined topic, be prepared for that। Metamorphic rock है या igneous rock है या sedimentary rock है, rocks के examples आपके पास पता होने चाहिए। And then the minerals, right? So feldspar is the mineral, it is composed of, we can say, silicon and oxygen। So in NCERT there is rocks chapter, I don't know जो rationalized content है 11th standard के NCERT का, उसमें शायद ये rocks chapter remove किया गया है, but I would say that you should read that chapter from the old NCERT, ठीक है। तो feldspar is composed of silicon and oxygen and constitute almost half of the earth's crust। This is correctly, we can say, described statement about feldspar। Thereafter quartz, this mineral, it is an important component of sand and granite, so we can understand, we know that quartz is used in, let's say, different applications। Then it is virtually insoluble in water, that is also true, it is, its quality it is mentioned, characteristic। Now this one, granite and gabbro are common examples of metamorphic rocks। Now we know that granite is a igneous rocks, right? इससे हम क्या कर सकते हैं, eliminate कर सकते हैं। gabbro is also igneous rock, तो ये क्या है, incorrect statement है, हम बोल सकते हैं। Now marble is example of metamorphic rock, we can say that। Then we can say that schist is there। तो यहाँ पे देखिए 1 and 2 only, that is B is the correct answer, right? Let's talk about next question। All right, so this is very standard question regarding salinity and temperature of ocean surface water। Now first statement is saying North Sea records higher salinity as compared to Baltic Sea despite of their location on the same latitude। ठीक है, तो ये हम पढ़ते हैं NCERT में, you need to know the reason। Now what happens is North Sea is open, we can say, marginal sea, and of Atlantic Ocean, and we can see that there the North Atlantic drift ocean current, which is warm current, we can say that, it brings warm saline water to the North Sea, and that's why overall salinity of North Sea is comparatively more। So we can say first part of this statement is being explained by this one। Now look at this, Baltic Sea receives more freshwater influx। Now you can see that Baltic Sea is enclosed, and that Baltic Sea is surrounded by, we can say that, Norway, Finland, and these countries are basically, most of these countries, they belong to, we can say that, Arctic Circle, where we have lot of glaciers, and that ice is melt during summer, and that is basically getting added continuously in that enclosed Baltic Sea, and that reduces its salinity. So that we can say that explains whole statement. Now both of these are correct and they are explaining, we can say that, statement 1, and that's why answer here is A. Now look at this. Statement 1 here, it is talking about in northern hemisphere the summer season is slightly longer than winter season. Yes, that is true, and we have to see the reason. The summer season is slightly longer than the winter season. अब students को ऐसा लग सकता है कि it is because of unequal distribution of land and sea. ऐसा reason नहीं है. The reason is about the Earth's revolution around the sun. तो revolution में हम देखते हैं it is the elliptical path, and in that elliptical path we apply the Kepler's second law of, we can say, planetary motion, which talks about the planets sweep equal area in equal amount of time, and for that purpose when the sun is located at one foci of, we can say that ellipse, then what happens is that second law will ensure that when the planet is near the sun or that star, it will move faster as compared to when it is at the farther location. Now the nearer location is basically perihelion and the farther location is aphelion. Now look at the second statement. Earth achieves the fastest orbital speed at aphelion. It is saying aphelion, that is a longer distance. It is incorrect. Basically it must be the perihelion when it is near to the sun. तो ये जो statement है incorrect है. Statement 1 is correct and that's why C is the answer here. So have you understood this concept? नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, आप पूछ सकते हैं इससे related कोई भी doubt comment box में, हम उसको address करेंगे. Now aurora are mostly seen to occur at the high latitudes near the Earth's pole. Now we know about this, right? We call them as northern lights, or we can say aurora borealis in the northern pole region, northern hemisphere, and in the southern pole region it is aurora australis. ठीक है, तो अब ये northern और southern region में higher latitudes में, polar region में ही क्यों दिखाई देता है this particular phenomenon? It is because you should know in the lower we can say that stratosphere or in the upper troposphere in the polar region, what happens is the charged particles from the solar winds are coming we can say in the polar cusp region, we can say that along the, we can say that magnetic field lines which are originating from the poles. ठीक है, अगर हम देखते हैं this is the earth and let's say we are calling these two as a poles. For example, I am saying these are the geographic poles, but I am also considering them as we can say that the magnetic poles. तो जब अगर हम इसको बार मैग्नेट की तरह कंसिडर करते हैं तो what we observe is our normal magnet is getting attracted towards the north and that's why we are calling it as north pole. ठीक है, और इसको हम यहाँ पे साउथ बोल रहे हैं, बट अंदर की तरफ अगर देखते हैं हम तो दिस इज साउथ एंड दिस इज नॉर्थ एंड दैट्स व्हाई द मैग्नेटिक फील्ड लाइंस विल बी गोइंग लाइक दिस एंड द चार्ज पार्टिकल कमिंग फ्रॉम द सोलर, वी कैन से दैट दे विल बी मूविंग अलोंग दिस वी कैन से दैट मैग्नेटिक फील्ड लाइंस एंड दे विल रीच हियर और वी कैन से दैट दे विल रीच हियर ऑल्सो. ठीक है, तो इसी रीजन की वजह से हम देखते हैं कि दीज चार्ज पार्टिकल्स आर कमिंग to the lower atmosphere, they are exciting the gases present there, and because of different molecules of different gases are getting different excited state, and that they will release the photons and that will give unique kind of colorful phenomenon called as aurora. ठीक है, तो ये हम बोल सकते हैं कि second statement is basically explaining the statement 1 and that's why A is the answer here. All right, very beautiful phenomenon, all of you may have let's say seen in the movies or we can say images. चलिए देखते हैं, अभी फिर से दो स्टेटमेंट दिए हैं और यहाँ पर क्या बोल रहे हैं, हम इंडिया की फिजियोग्राफी की बात कर रहे हैं. ईस्टर्न कोस्टल प्लेन प्रोवाइड्स नेचुरल फेवरेबल कंडीशंस फॉर द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पोर्ट्स एंड हार्बर्स. यस, दैट इज ट्रू. सो हाँ, sorry, pardon me, it is not true, right? Eastern coastal plain is not favorable for large number of ports and harbors, rather it is the western coastal plain. तो यहाँ पे ही हमें आंसर मिल गया है, first statement is incorrect, तो D must be the answer. Now what second statement saying, eastern coastal plains of India is an example of emergent coast and features a broad continental shelf. That is true, and because of that we can say that it is difficult to have natural harbors. We know that the western coast is submerged coast and because of that the ships can be easily coming to the coast and going away. Why? Because the coast is submerged here, and that's why the water levels will be much, we can say, deeper immediately near the coast, and that's why large ship can come and dock at the port. ठीक है, तो ये statement सही है, तो answer is D here. All right. Then with reference to cyclones, yes, tropical cyclones originate only over the sea surface, whereas the temperate cyclone form on both land and ocean surface. This is correct, right? For why we are saying this? Tropical cyclones, it requires basically latent heat of condensation that is derived from the warm ocean surface, especially above the 27 degrees Celsius temperature. The driving force of temperate cyclones is latent heat of condensation. ये देखिए, it is incorrect. It is tropical cyclones, right? It is the tropical cyclone. For temperate cyclone, it is the mechanical force induced by the, we can say that equal and opposite, we can say that the warm and cold air masses when they are interacting, ठीक है, तो वहाँ पर front formation होता है, that is mechanical energy, we can say that. Tropical cyclone generally travel from east to west under the influence of easterlies, that is true, trade winds, and whereas the temperate cyclone travel from west to east under the influence of westerlies. ये statement सही है, first statement सही है, this is incorrect, and again we can say that two statements are correct, B is the answer here. Next is, okay, there is a description here, it is a specific type of pastoralism or nomadism, ठीक है, on the seasonal movement of livestock between fixed summer and winter pastures. Okay, unlike the total nomadism, where families move constantly without a permanent base, it is highly organized cyclical migration. अब देखते हैं यहाँ पर ऑप्शंस में भी आपको कई सारी चीज़ें दिखाई दे रही है, झूम कल्टीवेशन दिख रहा है, टुंड्रा नोमैडिज्म दिखाई दे रहा है, हॉरिजॉन्टल नोमैडिज्म. तो इनके मैं एग्जांपल्स बताता हूँ. टुंड्रा नोमैडिज्म जो है टुंड्रा रीजन में हायर लैटिट्यूड में पाया जाता है. तो आप यहाँ तक जब पढ़ रहे हैं तो हमें लग सकता है कि ऐसे है, बट हर्डर्स यूजुअली हैव द परमानेंट होम ऑफन इन वैलीज एंड मूव टू टेम्पररी हाईलैंड्स shelters during the warm months. अब ऐसे कहाँ मिलता है? Mountainous region में, and that is we are calling at transhumans. That we are calling it as a transhumans, right? So हम बोल सकते हैं कि answer is C here, and like the tribes in, we can say that Uttarakhand, like we can say that Bhutias are there, or Bakarwals, Jammu and Kashmir, ठीक है. तो ये क्या करते हैं? ट्रांसह्यूमन्स करते हैं, ऐसा हम बोल सकते हैं कि ड्यूरिंग विंटर सीजन दे आर लिविंग इन द वैलीज, एंड ड्यूरिंग समर सीजन व्हेन देयर आर पास्चर्स आर ओपन बिकॉज ऑफ मेल्टिंग ऑफ स्नो, दे आर मूविंग टू द हायर लैंड्स एंड दे आर बेसिकली ग्रेजिंग देयर, वी कैन से दैट द लाइवस्टॉक, ठीक है. तो ट्रांसह्यूमन्स इज द आंसर हियर. इफ यू नाउ दिस यूनिक क्वेश्चन दैट आई हैव फ्रेम्ड पर्सनली, ठीक है, तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि इस तरीके से क्वेश्चन जब आता है तो आपको आंसर आता है, बट आपके लिए वो सोचने को मजबूर करता है, और सोचते वक्त आप थोड़ी भी गलती करते हो तो आपका आंसर गलत आ जाए, ठीक है. बट आप सही सोचते हो तो आंसर जरूर सही आएगा ऐसे क्वेश्चन में, ठीक है. तो व्हाट दे आर लेट्स से टॉकिंग हियर, इफ यू आर स्टैंडिंग ऑन 24th of May. अब मैंने डेलिबरेटली ये क्वेश्चन डाला है 24th of May क्योंकि आप उस दिन प्रीलिम्स लिखने वाले हैं, ठीक है. और 24th of May के दोपहर को 12 बजे अगर आप देखोगे, इफ़ यू आर इन दिल्ली, तो आप 11:30 बजे तक GS1 पेपर कंप्लीट हो जाता है, 9:30 से 11:30. तो ओपन ग्राउंड पे शायद आप खड़े भी हो उस टाइम पे 12 noon फेसिंग नॉर्थ डायरेक्शन, ऐसा हमने स्पेसिफिकली यहाँ पर ऐड किया हुआ है. व्हाट विल बी डायरेक्शन ऑफ योर शैडो, ठीक है. तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए फर्स्ट थिंग दैट दिल्ली लाइज बियॉन्ड द ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर, ठीक है, टू द नॉर्थ ऑफ ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर. So apparent movement of sun is up to only, we can say that, tropic of Cancer. Now here you can see that the sun will move up to tropic of Cancer or on the tropic of Cancer on, we can say that, summer solstice in June month, but here it is still May. That means the sun is still south of where we are standing in Delhi on 24th of May. Now after, second thing that you should know, that when the sun is towards the south, so when you are standing in Delhi, तो आपका जो भी shadow गिरेगा, irrespective of the direction you are facing, it will be towards north. Now you are standing facing the north, तो यानी कि जो shadow गिरेगा, it will be in front of you. As simple as that. ठीक है, तो A इज द करेक्ट आंसर इन दिस क्वेश्चन। आई होप दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स गॉट दिस करेक्ट। इस तरीके से क्वेश्चन जरूर एक एक्सपेक्टेड होता है आपको, ठीक है। तो वाटरफॉल्स एंड रिवर्स, नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट मैपिंग क्वेश्चंस, कुछ स्टैटिक्स है, कुछ करंट डेवलपमेंट्स है। ना वाटरफॉल्स एंड रिवर्स इज अ फेवरेट टॉपिक। लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर आपने देखा होगा जो हुंद्रू फॉल्स एंड दोज फॉल्स वर वास्ट, ठीक है। तो कपिल धारा वेरी फेमस वन, कहाँ पर है? अमरकंटक MP। तो ये कहाँ पर होगा आपको पता होना चाहिए। रिवर जो है इट इज नॉट गोदावरी, इट इज नर्मदा, ठीक है, इट इज नर्मदा। देन गगन चुक्की, ये तो आप देखते हैं पास्ट में UPSC ने भी पूछे हुए क्वेश्चन है, इट इज ऑन कावेरी रिवर। यस, गगन चुक्की एंड बारा चुक्की, दीज वाटरफॉल्स टुगेदर विल फॉर्म द शिवन समुद्र, लेट्स से ओवरऑल वी कैन से वाटरफॉल, लार्जर वाटरफॉल, ठीक है। तो गगन चुक्की कावेरी रिवर, सो वी कैन से दिस इज करेक्टली मैच, फर्स्ट वन इज इनकरेक्टली मैच। तीरथगढ़ कहाँ पर है? ये छत्तीसगढ़, कंगेर वैली, बस्तर रीजन, कंगेर वी कैन से रिवर इज देयर, तो ये सही है, करेक्टली मैच। गोकाक, यस इट इज इन कर्नाटका, बेलगावी। सो तुंगभद्रा नहीं है, यहाँ पर आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए दिया हुआ है, मालप्रभा रिवर इज देयर, घाटप्रभा, मालप्रभा, 2 रिवर्स आर देयर, ठीक है। तो ये इनकरेक्टली मैच है, तो ओनली 2 इज करेक्टली मैच हियर, अगेन B इज द आंसर। चलिए ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं। सेकंड क्वेश्चन देखिए। ओके, वेरी सिंपल वन। 9 डिग्री चैनल सेपरेट्स अंडमान आइलैंड्स एंड निकोबार आइलैंड्स। तो आपको ये बहुत ही क्लियर पता है, बेसिक है कि 10 डिग्री चैनल सेपरेट्स अंडमान ग्रुप ऑफ आइलैंड एंड निकोबार ग्रुप ऑफ आइलैंड। तो ये इनकरेक्ट हो गया, तो मैंने ये एलिमिनेट कर दिया यहाँ से। अब ऑप्शन B और C। अब यहाँ पे देखिए 2 ओनली और 3 ओनली ही ऐसा लिखा हुआ है, ठीक है। तो अब यहाँ पे भी देख सकते हो कि डंकन पैसेज सेपरेट्स लिटिल अंडमान आइलैंड्स from South Andaman Islands. So this is correctly correct statement. And 10 degree channel separates Minicoy Islands. ये आपको जरूर पता होगा, it is 9 degree। देखिए, ठीक है, तो इंटरचेंज किया हुआ है, तो ये इनकरेक्ट है। तो ओनली 2 क्या है ये? तो ओके, पार्डन मी, सॉरी, इनकरेक्ट पूछा हुआ है, ठीक है। तो ये आपको जरूर ध्यान देना है पढ़ते वक्त। तो इनकरेक्ट कमांड बोला हुआ है, तो इनकरेक्ट 1 and 3 है, तो यस, व्हाट शुड बी द आंसर? D इज द आंसर। पार्डन मी, आपको ये अप्रोच चेंज करना होगा, तो D इज द करेक्ट आंसर इन दिस केस। इनकरेक्ट पूछा हुआ है, राइट। अभी यहाँ पे देखिए करेक्टली मैच पूछा हुआ है, एंड ईरान इज इन न्यूज, राइट। सो इजराइल ईरान, US ईरान वॉर जो चल रहा है, तो उसकी ज्योग्राफी के बारे में आपको पता होना चाहिए, दैट ईरान इज बेसिकली कवर्ड फ्रॉम द माउंटेन्स, hills from 3 sides, mostly it is we can say northern and western and southern side, ठीक है। तो अब अगर आप देखते हैं कि एल्बूज माउंटेन्स कहाँ पर है? वेस्टर्न ईरान में नहीं है, वो कहाँ पर है? नॉर्दर्न ईरान में है। और जैग्रोस माउंटेन्स आप देखते हैं नॉर्थ साउथ में डायरेक्शन में, तो वो वेस्टर्न ईरान में है। मकरन रेंज इज इन सदर्न वी कैन से ईरान, एंड सम पार्ट इज इन पाकिस्तान ऑल्सो। तो वी कैन से दैट दिस इज लेट्स से इनकरेक्ट, दिस इज इनकरेक्ट, ओनली 1 इज द करेक्ट आंसर, A इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर। ऑल राइट, then next is, yes we wanted to ask this because these are geo heritage sites, और इसमें से कुछ जो है अभी टेंटेटिव लिस्ट में ऐड किए गए हैं यूनेस्को हेरिटेज साइट्स में। ओके, सो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए, जैसे सेंट मेरीज आइलैंड भी ऐड किया गया है रिसेंटली। नाउ जियोलॉजिकल फॉर्मेशंस इन इंडिया, तो जैसे एक 2022 में क्वेश्चन आया था गंडीकोट्टा कैनियन, इट इज़ अ जियोलॉजिकल मार्वल इन इंडिया। तो उसी तरीके से रैंडम अगर आपको पूछता है तो एटलीस्ट 10-15 जो मेजर जियोलॉजिकल मार्बल्स, जैसे बेड़ा घाट के जो मार्बल फॉर्मेशंस है बाय नर्मदा रिवर, ठीक है, तो वो आपको जरूर पता होने चाहिए। सिमिलरली याना रॉक्स आर वेरी फेमस, वी कैन से लाइमस्टोन, क्रिस्टलाइन लाइमस्टोन रॉक्स, जैसे ऐसे खड़े के खड़े एकदम बड़े से रॉक्स है, कहाँ पर है वो? इट्स नॉट इन तमिलनाडु, इट्स इन कर्नाटका, ठीक है। दिस इज इनकरेक्टली मैच्ड। नाउ पैटलैंड्स, द पैटलैंड्स ऑफ रांची, ठीक है, हम ज्योग्राफी में पढ़ते हैं ना, तो ये फेमस है बहुत ज़्यादा, झारखंड में है, छोटा नागपुर प्लेटो। तो बेसिकली कैसे टोपोग्राफी है पैटलैंड्स की, ये देखो ऐसे है, इस तरीके से होते पैटलैंड्स, ठीक है। तो छोटा नागपुर प्लेटो के ऊपर ऐसे अब एलिवेटेड पार्ट्स है ऐसे, ठीक है, एलिवेटेड दैट्स व्हाई पैटलैंड्स। सो ये करेक्टली मैच्ड है। बोरा केव्स, इट इज इन अरकू वैली ऑफ आंध्र प्रदेश, दिस इज करेक्टली मैच्ड। Then we can say Saint Mary's Islands, it again basaltic we can say formations, igneous formations in Karnataka western coast. So ये सही है, 3 सही है इसमें से, so only 3, that is C is the correct answer. All right. And the last question for geography, सुवाल्की गैप, yes it was in news, सुवाल्की गैप, ठीक है। तो ये लोकेशन पता होना चाहिए, it is an area around the border between Lithuania and Poland. Basically this gap connects we can say that the exclave of Russia, what is that? Kaliningrad. Okay, so it is connecting that let's say along this particular border with, we can say that the neighboring country that is there of Russia, which is, we can say, its friend. तो ऐसा हम बोल सकते हैं, it is very important to enter into, we can say that Baltic Sea. ठीक है, इसका एक्सक्लेव है रशिया का कालिनिनग्रैड, वहाँ पे रेलवे लाइन भी है मेन, वी कैन से रशिया से वहाँ तक की. तो ये कौन से बॉर्डर पे है? लिथुआनिया एंड पोलैंड बॉर्डर पे, सुवाल्की गैप. ठीक है, तो ए इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर. ऑल राइट, ठीक है, तो ये हो गए ज्योग्राफी के क्वेश्चन. देन नाउ विल डिस्कस द एनवायरनमेंट क्वेश्चन. All right, now let's discuss the environment section of Panchsutra test 1. So again, like every AIPM earlier we had similar kind of trend we are continuing, but this Panchsutra test 5 will try to have best of best environment questions for you. So let's solve these questions one by one. First, okay, biosphere reserve. Regarding biosphere reserve, we have to identify the correct statements. They are designated under UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program. It was started in 1971, we can say that, by UNESCO, and UNESCO Man and Biosphere program will recognize certain of, we can say that, these biosphere reserves under the World Network of Biosphere Reserves also. ठीक है, तो ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. So this is correct. Human settlements are completely prohibited. दिस इज एक्सट्रीम स्टेटमेंट, नो, आपको ये पता होना चाहिए. बट फ्रेमिंग इसी तरीके से, जैसे नेशनल पार्क का एक क्वेश्चन था, डेजर्ट नेशनल पार्क में कोई भी सेटलमेंट नहीं है, तो हम ऐसा सोच सकते हैं कि शायद नहीं होगा. बट यू शुड नो दैट बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स आर बेसिकली अ सिम्बायोटिक रिलेशन बिटवीन द ह्यूमन सेटलमेंट्स एंड द ओवरऑल, वी कैन से दैट इकोलॉजिकल conservation. All right, so this is incorrect. Then biosphere reserve consists of core, buffer and transition zones. This core zone is basically having the legal status of, we can say that, national park and wildlife sanctuaries, and then the surrounding buffer and transition zones, slowly we can say beyond the core zone, buffer and transition, the activities, human activities are allowed. ठीक है, तो ये जो है सही स्टेटमेंट है. 1 and 3 only we can say that A is the correct answer. ठीक है, अगर आपको पता चल गया है दो गलत है तो एलिमिनेशन मेथड विल वर्क आउट हियर. नाउ रिगार्डिंग मैनग्रोव्स एंड देयर एडाप्टेशंस, pneumatophores, yes, that is for gas exchange, this is correct, we can say that. So here we can say that they are submerged many times, and because of that unique kind of, let's say, adaptations have been developed here. Pneumatophores is one of them. Vivipary is very unique, it is seed germination on the tree. So what happens here is seed germination is there on the stem itself, and then at appropriate time period when the seed is germinated, automatically it falls down and later on it, let's say, grows as a new tree. So this is correct. Now buttress roots कैसे होता है, ये देखो ऐसे होता है, ठीक है, buttress roots, and basically these roots are providing support to this stem. ठीक है, तो वहाँ पर क्या होता है, बहुत लेट्स से एरिया जो है कभी पानी में होता है, कभी पानी कम हो जाता है, कभी पानी बढ़ जाता है, तो यहाँ पर सपोर्ट करने की ज़रूरत है, तो इसलिए ये बटरेस रूट्स है, नॉट फॉर सॉल्ट सिक्रीशन. ठीक है, सॉल्ट सिक्रीशन के लिए वो ग्लैंड्स जो है वो नए टाइप के डेवलप हुए हैं. दिस इज इनकरेक्ट. 1 and 2 ओनली, दैट इज ए इज द करेक्ट आंसर. ऑल राइट, नेक्स्ट. Regarding disaster management, if suppose let's say recently 16th Finance Commission had recommended that we can say lightning and heat waves should be declared as nationally notified disasters. ठीक है, national disaster मतलब notified disasters भी हम बोल सकते हैं. Primarily it will help in, ठीक है, तो direct release of mitigation funds from the National Disaster Response Fund, this is correct. Then standardized early warning dissemination at district level, yes, this is correct. We can say inclusion of National Risk Atlas, inclusion in National Risk Atlas and planning, this is also correct. Basically all of these are going to be the outcomes if those are given the notified disaster status. All right, species based protected areas. ठीक है, देखते हैं कि कौन से species based protected areas है ये. Okay, so one horn rhinoceros, मॉलिंग नेशनल पार्क कहाँ पर है, ये अरुणाचल प्रदेश में. अरुणाचल प्रदेश में राइनोसोर नहीं मिलता है, ठीक है, राइनोसोर्स हमें पता है काजीरंगा में मिलता है, ठीक है, काजीरंगा नेशनल पार्क, तो ये इनकरेक्टली मैच्ड है. लायन टेल मैकाक, इट इज इन नीलगिरीज वी कैन से. सो यस, नीलगिरी बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व, साइलेंट वैली नेशनल पार्क केरला, तो ये सही मार्क है, हम बोल सकते हैं सही पेयर है. संगाई डियर और ब्रो एंटलर डियर, कैबुल लामजाओ कहाँ पर है ये, मणिपुर में. दिस इज वी कैन से एंडेमिक टू दैट रीजन. दिस इज करेक्ट. हंगोल और वी कैन से दैट कश्मीर स्टैग, इट इज फाउंड इन दाचिगम नेशनल पार्क इन वी कैन से दैट नियर श्रीनगर, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. तो ये तीनों पेयर सही है इसमें, तो सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर, राइट. ऑल राइट. नाउ यस, स्केलेक्टेनियन corals possess narrow thermal threshold governed by algal symbiosis. So we know that such kind of corals, when there is slight increase in temperature, the we can say bond between the zooxanthellae and these coral polyps is broken and there will be let's say coral bleaching. ठीक है, तो ये सही है. हम बोल सकते हैं कि narrow thermal thresholds होता है. Thermal stress induces cellular oxidative damage, forcing the expulsion of zooxanthellae by these coral polyps. तो ये this statement is correct and explaining the statement 1. So easily we can identify that and we can say A is the correct answer. Oh. Regarding methane as a greenhouse gas, has a shorter atmospheric lifetime than the carbon dioxide. This is correct, we can say around 20 years and carbon dioxide is 100 years. Then methane emissions from the agriculture mainly arise from the enteric fermentation. ठीक है, yes that is true. Enteric fermentation कहाँ पर होता है कि ये लाइव स्टॉक में होता है, cattle especially. ठीक है, cattle. And then rice cultivation, yes this is also we can say major source. Wetlands are the largest natural source of methane emissions. This is also correct. Wetlands में बहुत ज़्यादा हम बोल सकते हैं कि anaerobic डिकम्पोजिशन होते रहता है कंटिन्यूसली अंडर वाटर, तो उससे भी मीथेन रिलीज होता है. इंडिया इज सिग्नेटरी टू ग्लोबल मीथेन प्लेज. नाउ दिस इज इनकरेक्ट. ग्लोबल मीथेन प्लेज जो हम बोल सकते हैं 2 साल पहले जो कंट्रीज लाइक यूएस उन्होंने शुरू किया था, तो इंडिया ने साइन नहीं किया था और अभी भी नहीं किया हुआ है. सो 1, 2 एंड 3 ओनली. तो यहाँ से भी आपको एलिमिनेशन मेथड वर्क होता है, आपको पता है क्लियरली ग्लोबल मीथेन प्लेज, इंडिया इज नॉट सिग्नेटरी. तो आप देखिए 4, 4, 4 एलिमिनेट करिए, ए इज द आंसर. ऑलराइट. देन next is sea grasses. Sea grasses are important components of coastal ecosystem. This is correct, we can say. They are a kind of we can say small grasses that are growing and on the continental shelf, yes, and especially in the photic layer. ठीक है, तो sea grasses are the flowering plants that grow completely submerged in the marine waters. अब यहाँ पे ये explain नहीं कर रहा है कि कैसे ये important component है. It is simply describing sea grasses. It is not explaining the statement 1, but still it is correct and that's why independently B is the correct answer. So it is not explaining, independently both statements are correct. Again, ecosystem and location, we know सुंदरबंस आर इन वेस्ट बंगाल, तो ये बहुत ही ईजी है. भितरकनिका वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी जो है उड़ीसा में है नेशनल पार्क. पिचावरम कहाँ पर है? इट्स नॉट इन केरला. मैनग्रोव्स दे आर बेसिकली इन तमिलनाडु. ठीक है, कडलोर डिस्ट्रिक्ट तमिलनाडु, तो ये इनकरेक्ट है. गल्फ ऑफ कच्छ वी नो दैट इट इज़ इन गुजरात. ठीक है, तो ये मोस्टली वी कैन से मैनग्रोव इकोसिस्टम्स है, तो गुजरात में है ये. 1, 2, 4, 3 जो है, ओनली 3 इज द आंसर हियर, राइट. सी इज द आंसर. तो कई सारे क्वेश्चन आपको अटेम्प्ट करने में आसानी हुई होगी यहाँ पर. PM 2.5 पार्टिकुलेट मैटर पार्टिकल्स हैव डायमीटर स्मॉलर देन 2.5 माइक्रोमीटर. दिस इज करेक्ट. They can penetrate deep into human respiratory system. Yes, that is true. We can say they can even enter into lungs. 2.5 let's say originate solely from anthropogenic sources. ये incorrect है ना. ठीक है, नॉर्मल फॉरेस्ट फायर्स, वोल्केनिक इरप्शन से भी हम बोल सकते हैं कि 2.5 रिलीज होता है PM 2.5. तो 1 and 2 ओनली, A is the correct answer. All right. India hosts the second largest population of wild tigers in the world. Second largest कहाँ है? It is largest नहीं. Around 75% of world tiger population is in India. ये हमें डायरेक्ट आंसर मिल गया है. India's tiger conservation strategy focuses on maintaining habitat connectivity. Yes, we are having we can say tiger corridors. We are focusing on that. ठीक है, tiger corridors कर रहे हैं habitat connectivity. तो ये statement सही है, तो आंसर is D here. All right. Then consider the following statement regarding Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Yes, 2023 में हमने स्टार्ट किया हुआ है, ये एग्री किया हुआ है. And this was adopted under the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, UNCBD, outcome of Earth Summit 1992. It sets the target to protect 30%. Yes, of course 30/30 टारगेट जो है हमारा, तो वो अचीव करने के लिए है. हम बोल सकते हैं लीगली बाइंडिंग ऑन द कंट्रीज टू अचीव. तो ये लीगली बाइंडिंग नहीं है, नॉन बाइंडिंग है. सिमिलर टू अर्लियर आईची बायोडाइवर्सिटी टारगेट्स। ठीक है, तो ये इनकरेक्ट है, तो हम बोल सकते हैं ओनली 2 इज द आंसर हियर, बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर। देन यस, रिगार्डिंग स्लेंडर लॉरिस, जैसे एक स्पेसीज पे क्वेश्चन लास्ट ईयर आया था दैट पीकॉक टैंथलम। ठीक है, तो इसी तरीके से हमने स्लेंडर लॉरिस पे पूछा हुआ है, एक्सपेक्टेड क्वेश्चन है। ठीक है, तो यस इट इज़ नॉक्टर्नल प्राइमेट दैट इज ऑल्सो फाउंड इन इंडिया बट नॉट स्पेसिफिकली एंडेमिक टू इंडिया। अगर देखते हैं तो इसका पॉपुलेशन श्रीलंका में भी है। ठीक है, सदर्न स्टेट्स में मिलता है ये। इट इनहैबिट्स ट्रॉपिकल फॉरेस्ट एंड स्क्रब फॉरेस्ट। यस दिस इज करेक्ट, वी कैन से दैट। दिस इज इनकरेक्ट, दिस इज करेक्ट, 1 and 3। तो यहाँ पे हमें, ठीक है, तो इसके 2 सब स्पेसीज है अलग अलग, वी कैन से दैट। एंड कुडवूर स्लेंडर लॉरिस वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी जो तमिलनाडु ने 2022 में नोटिफाई की थी, हम बोल सकते हैं दैट इज फॉर प्रोटेक्शन टू स्लेंडर लॉरिस। ठीक है, तो वो कहाँ पर है, तमिलनाडु में है। बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर। देन इकोसिस्टम, ब्लू कार्बन इकोसिस्टम के कौन से पार्ट है? ब्लू कार्बन विल इंक्लूड मरीन एज वेल एज वी कैन से कोस्टल इकोसिस्टम। ठीक है, तो मैनग्रूव्स आएगा, सॉल्ट मार्शेस इज देयर, देन सी ग्रासेस आर देयर, टाइडल मार्शेस आर देयर, केल्प फॉरेस्ट इज ऑल्सो देयर, बेसिकली ऑल 5, वेरी इजी, डी इज द करेक्ट आंसर। सो वी एक्सपेक्ट दैट कि कभी तो यूपीएससी ऐसे इजी क्वेश्चन पेपर है हम इको एनवायरमेंट से, ठीक है, हम एटलीस्ट एक्सपेक्ट करें कभी ना कभी। ठीक है, तो हम नेक्स्ट वाले क्वेश्चंस थोड़े से और टफ करेंगे इसमें। मैंग्रोव इकोसिस्टम्स आर कंसिडर्ड इफिशिएंट कार्बन सिंक्स। यस दैट इज ट्रू, वी कैन से वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इफिशिएंट। रीजन, मैंग्रोव सॉइल्स एक्यूमुलेट लार्ज क्वांटिटीज ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक कार्बन अंडर अनएरोबिक कंडीशंस। यस, most of the time they are under water, many a times we can say water is receding। तो ये अंडर वाटर होता है तो अनएरोबिक जो है डिकम्पोजिशन होता रहता है कंडीशंस में कंटिन्यूसली। हम बोल सकते हैं कि कार्बन जो है वो सिंक की तरह एक्ट होता है वहाँ पर, कार्बन सिंक की तरह जो भी रिएक्शंस हो रहे हैं। तो इट इज़ करेक्टली एक्सप्लेनिंग दैट एंड दैट्स व्हाई ए इज़ द करेक्ट आंसर। ठीक है, नाउ मूविंग ऑन। Regarding India's renewable energy targets, India aim to achieve 500 of gigawatt non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. Yes, this is correct. We can say that हम 500 gigawatt non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030 अचीव करना चाहते हैं। इंडिया इज द फाउंडिंग मेंबर ऑफ इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस। ये भी सही है, तो दोनों स्टेटमेंट सही है यहाँ पे। करेक्ट, सी इज द आंसर। बहुत ही ईजी है ये, राइट। सो दीज आर द एनवायरमेंट क्वेश्चंस। ऑल राइट, नाउ वी विल सी द करंट अफेयर्स क्वेश्चंस। All right, so these are the current affairs questions। ठीक है, तो पंचसूत्र टेस्ट 1। ठीक है, तो करंट अफेयर्स क्वेश्चंस तो हमने देखा, आपने देखा होगा सॉल्व करते हो कि करंट अफेयर्स के क्वेश्चंस हमने साइंस एंड टेक, एनवायरनमेंट और इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस है। और कई सारे क्वेश्चन हम देख रहे हैं कि अवार्ड्स और इस तरीके से पूछे जा रहे हैं, तो वी आर ट्राइंग टू ऐड दोज क्वेश्चंस हियर। ठीक है, तो रशिया शेयर्स द डायरेक्ट लैंड बॉर्डर, एक मैपिंग का क्वेश्चन है इसमें। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कंट्रीज, ऐसे एक क्वेश्चन एक्सपेक्टेड होता है। क्वेश्चन यूक्रेन पे पूछा गया था लास्ट ईयर। ठीक है, तो कभी भी कैसे भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है आपको। ठीक है, सो रशिया शेयर्स बॉर्डर विथ लिथुआनिया, देन वी कैन से दैट नॉर्थ कोरिया, अबखाजिया एक रीजन है एक पर्टिकुलर कंट्री के अंदर, बट इंटरनेशनली इसको कंट्री की तरह अभी तक नहीं मिला हुआ है। बट यस, रशिया कंसिडर इट एज वी कैन से दैट एज अ कंट्री। ठीक है, एंड देन अजरबैजान इज देयर फ्रॉम द सदर्न साइड। स्वीडन यू कैन एलिमिनेट दिस एंड उज्बेकिस्तान यू कैन एलिमिनेट, उससे भी आंसर आपको आ जाएगा। ठीक है, उज्बेकिस्तान यू कैन एलिमिनेट क्योंकि कजाकिस्तान है नॉर्थ में, तो ये एलिमिनेट हो जाएगा। और यहाँ पर अगर आप देखते हैं तो स्वीडन आपको एलिमिनेट करने आना चाहिए। ठीक है, स्वीडन एलिमिनेट करोगे तो यहाँ पर आंसर आ जाएगा 1 2 3 6। ठीक है, क्योंकि फिनलैंड इज हैविंग बॉर्डर, नॉट स्वीडन। ओके, with reference to national bioenergy program in India divided into 3 sub scheme, that is true। waste to energy एक है, biomass program है and biogas program है, that is correct। biomass program focuses exclusively on production of biomass pellets for co-firing in thermal power plants। ऐसी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं होती है ना, एक्सक्लूसिवली क्यों करेगा वो, सिर्फ पावर प्लांट, इंडस्ट्रीज में भी तो यूज़ हो सकते हैं पैलेट्स, इंडस्ट्रीज में भी तो यूज़ हो सकता है। तो ये लॉजिक आप यूज़ करिए, इसको एलिमिनेट करिए। First is correct. Central finance assistance is provided based on the installed capacity. This is correct. So only 2 is the correct answer. B is the correct answer here. All right. Pink tax, yes, you मस्ट हैव गॉट दिस करेक्ट, क्योंकि बहुत दिनों से ये न्यूज़ में भी था, कभी भी मतलब पूछा जा सकता है. वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग लास्ट ईयर ओनली. ठीक है, पिंक टैक्स इज बेसिकली अ मार्केट ड्रिवन प्राइसिंग स्ट्रैटेजी, इट इज़ नॉट एक्चुअल टैक्स लीविड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. तो यहाँ पे कंफ्यूज हो सकते हैं आप. It is a market-driven pricing strategy where women pay a premium for gender-targeted goods and services. तो इसका एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. एक कोई मतलब 2 टॉवेल्स है, वो 2 टॉवेल्स में एक वाइट कलर का एक पिंक कलर का है, एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ. एंड दिस पिंक कलर टॉवेल इज बीइंग मार्केटेड स्पेशली फॉर फीमेल, और इसकी प्राइस जो है 50 रुपये ज़्यादा है इससे. अब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट दोनों की सेम है, बट 50 रुपये इसको ज़्यादा हम जो बेच रहे हैं मार्केटिंग जस्ट फॉर फीमेल के लिए है, पिंक कलर का है या वायलेट कलर का है, तो उनको बहुत अट्रैक्टिव होगा, उनके लिए खास बनाया गया है. ऐसा जब हम मार्केटिंग करते हैं और बेचते हैं तो ये 50 रुपीज़ जो एक्स्ट्रा पे किया जा रहा है यहाँ पे बिकॉज ऑफ दैट, तो ये हो गया पिंक टैक्स. ठीक है, तो ये बी इज़ द करेक्ट आंसर. ओके. With reference to UNESCO as a body, ठीक है, international bodies and organizations, it was founded immediately after World War I. तो ये तो गलत है ना, World War II है ना, 1945. ठीक है, so this is incorrect. Its mandate encompasses safeguarding both material and living, we can say non-material heritage. That is true, right? Both we can say material and we can say that living heritage. दोनों सही है, क्योंकि हम देखते हैं intangible heritage भी कंसिडर होता है और उसमें heritage sites में natural sites, cultural sites भी आता है. It establishes international norms such as ethical guidelines for AI standards, media freedom, ये भी आ जाता है क्योंकि education भी है उसमें. ठीक है, तो 2 and 3, 2 only. ठीक है, B is the correct answer, only 2. ठीक है. Then यस, सित्तन वसल, ये साइट न्यूज़ में था. आर्ट एंड कल्चर भी हिस्ट्री से, एंशिएंट हिस्ट्री से आपको पता होना चाहिए. इट इज़ देयर इन तमिलनाडु. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर क्या मिला हुआ है? रॉक कट केव टेम्पल विथ अर्ली जैन मुरल आर्ट. ठीक है, तो ये एक स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन है करंट अफेयर्स में, आप आर्ट एंड कल्चर एंड हिस्ट्री के पार्ट में पढ़िए ये सित्तन वसल. ओके. रिगार्डिंग एस्ट्रोसैट, ठीक है, इट इज़ फर्स्ट डेडिकेटेड इंडियन मिशन कैपेबल ऑफ ब्रॉडबैंड स्पेक्ट्रो. ये हमने AIPMT में भी पहले इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछा हुआ है, बट डिफरेंट वे से क्वेश्चन पूछा हुआ था, राइट. सो इट इज़ कैपेबल ऑफ ऑब्जर्विंग यूनिवर्स इन द ऑप्टिकल UV एंड बोथ लो एंड हाई एनर्जी एक्सरे रीजन साइमल्टेनियसली. दैट्स यूनिक प्रॉपर्टी. Mission was launched into a near equatorial orbit to minimize the impact of South Atlantic anomaly. क्या है ये South Atlantic anomaly? Basically, South Atlantic anomaly is the region in the South Atlantic Ocean region where we have very low Earth's magnetic field, and it is because of the uneven churning and convection that is happening in the outer core. ठीक है, तो वहाँ पर ये हम बोल सकते हैं कि कम Earth's magnetic field है South Atlantic anomaly. तो ये भी सही है. Its primary scientific objective is to study binary star systems containing neutron stars and black holes. So this is also correct, we can say all 3, that is C is the correct answer here. नहीं पता है तो ऐसे क्वेश्चन स्किप कर देने चाहिए. ठीक है. In the context of disaster vulnerability in the Himalayan region, which of the following factors primarily increases the frequency of cloud burst, especially in the context of climate change? ठीक है, तो मीजोस्केल मॉइस्चर कन्वर्जेंस, तो ये हम बोल सकते हैं सही है. यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है कि मीजोस्केल मतलब लार्जर स्केल पे हम बोल सकते हैं एक मॉइस्चर जो है कन्वर्ज हो रहा है बेसिकली ड्यूरिंग द वार्म टाइम पीरियड, और वी कैन से दैट ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. तो टेम्परेचर जब ज़्यादा होता है तो मेल्टिंग एंड एज वेल एज इवेपोरेशन साइमल्टेनियसली बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट मोर एंड मोर मॉइस्चर इज गेटिंग, वी कैन से दैट there is convection, or we can say simply it is moving up along the slopes of mountains especially, and that moisture is getting converged, and there are chances of condensation. Enhanced adiabatic cooling, yes, adiabatic cooling we can say that जैसे हम orographic rainfall में देखते हैं, so that is adiabatic cooling. तो as it is moving up along the slopes, it is moving further and further in the higher slopes, and that's why further let's say enhanced adiabatic cooling is happening, and suddenly all of that moisture, excess moisture is getting cooled and condensed, and that's why cloud burst is happening. Now cryospheric albedo feedback. Now cryospheric albedo feedback is we can say that problem with global warming, but it is related to ground level melting of ice not directly impacting, we can say, evaporation, and that is resulting into moisture content, or we can say condensation. So this is not correct. Then thermodynamic tropospheric warming, ये तो हम बता ही रहे हैं, ठीक है, कि ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की वजह से जो हो रहा है. 1 to 4 इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर. तो आपको थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज डी और सी में हो रहा होगा, बहुत लोगों ने डी मार्क किया होगा यहाँ पर, बट आंसर इज सी. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, रिगार्डिंग बाइकोनूर कॉस्मोड्रोम, ये न्यूज़ में रहता है. देखो, you should know that Russia has the major we can say that launch center in Kazakhstan. This is Baikonur Cosmodrome, though located in the sovereign territory of Kazakhstan, remains the primary site for all Russian crewed orbital launches. ठीक है, तो ये एक है. सेकंड, Vostochny Cosmodrome was developed in the Russia's far east as a strategic alternative to reduce Russia's extraterritorial dependence and lease expenditure. तो ये इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं है ना, ये इंडिपेंडेंटली करेक्ट है, ये इंडिपेंडेंटली करेक्ट है. सो वी कैन से बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. ठीक है, ऑल राइट. कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग रिगार्डिंग कवच सिस्टम, स्पेशली इट इज, वी कैन से, फॉर टू प्रिवेंट द ट्रेन कोलिजन्स, train accidents. It is the indigenous automatic train protection system utilizing RFID tags, UHF radio for real time positioning and signaling data exchange. This is correct. Certified SIL4, आपको इसमें डिटेल में पढ़ने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. बेसिकली इट इज़ रिलेटेड टू सिग्नलिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स. द सिस्टम प्रिवेंट्स सिग्नल पासिंग एट डेंजर SPAD बाय enforcing automatic braking based on dynamic speed profile. So this is correct. The mission aims to achieve grade of automation 4 to facilitate fully unattended driverless train operations. अब सोचिए कि इंडिया में driverless train है तो भी क्या अभी नहीं है ना. तो बेसिकली यूज दैट लॉजिक. ठीक है, तो कवच की वजह से ड्राइवरलेस ट्रेन कैसे हो सकता है? नहीं, इट इज़ फॉर बेसिकली प्रिवेंटिंग कोलिजन. तो ये एक सेफ्टी मैकेनिज्म है, नॉट टू हैव लेट्स ए ड्राइवरलेस ट्रेन. तो ये इनकरेक्ट है. यू कैन यूज द एलिमिनेशन मेथड एंड ए इज द करेक्ट आंसर. द नेक्स्ट, regarding we can say that a conflict in Sudan, I would say that you should have skipped this question, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही specific information पूछ रहा है, तो शायद आपको नहीं पता हो. ठीक है, but yes, geographically this region is in West Kordofan. ठीक है, बाबानूसा रीजन ये न्यूज़ में रहता है. ठीक है, स्ट्रेटेजिक सिग्निफिकेंस की वजह से. वाई इट इज़ अ क्रिटिकल गेटवे कनेक्टिंग दारफुर रीजन, ये पूछा हुआ है यूपीसी में. PYQ आप देखिए, दारफुर रीजन इन सूडान. ठीक है, टू सेंट्रल सूडान. ठीक है, तो दिस इज करेक्ट. इट फंक्शन एज अ मेजर रेलवे जंक्शन विथ लाइंस ब्रांचिंग वेस्टवर्ड नाइला. बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन पूछा हुआ है, तो इसलिए आपको कंफ्यूज हो सकता है, और इसलिए ये क्वेश्चन स्किप कर देना चाहिए. इट सर्व्स एज अ हेडक्वार्टर फॉर 22nd इन्फेंट्री डिवीजन. इतना सब कुछ अगर कोई कंट्री का याद रखोगे तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा ना. ठीक है, तो ऐसे क्वेश्चन अगर डालता भी है एग्जाम में तो आपको बताया गया है कि इसको स्किप करो. बेसिकली तीनों स्टेटमेंट सही है, यहाँ पर मैं आंसर बताने के लिए बोल रहा हूँ. डी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. बट यूपीएससी में रेयर चांसेस है कि प्लेसेस इन न्यूज़ पे इतना डिटेल में क्वेश्चन आएगा. ठीक है, तो ये आपको एक ट्रैप था कि आप ये क्वेश्चन ना अटेम्प्ट करें. यस, इट वॉज इन न्यूज. सेज अगस्त्य व्हीकल एक्सपीडिशन, जब हम देख रहे थे काशी तमिल संगमम 4.0 जो था, उस टाइम पे ये सेव इनिशिएटिव लॉन्च किया गया है. सिविलाइजेशनल कार रैली डिजाइन टू रिट्रेस द हिस्टोरिक कल्चर एंड स्पिरिचुअल कनेक्टिंग तेनकासी इन तमिलनाडु टू वाराणसी इन उत्तर प्रदेश. दिस इज करेक्ट. अब सेकंड स्टेटमेंट में फिर से एक्सप्लेनेशन देने की कोशिश की गई है, बट दैट इज नॉट द करेक्ट एक्सप्लेनेशन, राइट, एंड दैट इज नॉट करेक्ट. वी कैन से प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द एक्सपीडिशन इज टू कंडक्ट द कॉम्प्रहेंसिव सेंसस ऑफ ट्राइबल सेटलमेंट्स. ये ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं है इसका, तो वी कैन से दैट सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. ओके, yes, this was in news. Why? Because it has been added into tentative world let's say heritage sites फ्रॉम इंडिया. टेंटेटिव लिस्ट में ऐड किया गया है. एरामट्टी डब्बालू, ठीक है, डिब्बालू. एरामट्टी डिब्बालू क्या है? दीज आर बेसिकली द रेड सैंड ड्यून्स इन द आंध्र प्रदेश. ठीक है, बहुत ही यूनिक है बिकॉज ऑफ कंटिन्यूस लेट्स से आयन ऑक्साइड और ऑक्सीडेशन दैट इज हैपनिंग कंटिन्यूसली, दैट इज रिजल्टिंग इनटू वी कैन से रेड कलर टू दिस यूनिक मार्वल, जियोलॉजिकल मार्वल दैट इज फाउंड इन इंडिया. तो कहाँ हम क्या बोल सकते हैं इसमें? रेयर प्लिस्टोसिन एरा रेड कोस्टल सैंड ड्यून्स. ठीक है, तो ये कहाँ पर है? आंध्र प्रदेश में है. देन with reference to Bitra Island, yes, it was recently in news. Bitra Island is in Lakshadweep. It is set to host India's third naval base in the Lakshadweep archipelago. This is correct. India has started preparation to have that third naval base in Bitra Islands in Lakshadweep. That's why it is in news. ठीक है, तो अगर आप देखते हैं करावती में एक है और जो सदर्न मोस्ट आइलैंड जो है लक्षद्वीप का लार्जेस्ट आइलैंड मिनिकॉय, वहाँ पर नेवल बेस है. तो तीसरा बेस अब बित्रा आइलैंड पे होगा. इट हैज़ लार्जेस्ट लगून एरिया among all the islands of Lakshadweep. This is also correct. It is located to the south of 9-degree channel. अब ये आपको confusing हो सकता है, ठीक है. It is not located in south of 9-degree channel. It is located on the north of, we can say, that channel. South of 9-degree channel is basically Minicoy. एक ही island है southern most जो 9 डिग्री के नीचे है साउथ में, और ऊपर बाकी के आइलैंड्स है. रादर दिस बित्रा आइलैंड टू द नॉर्दर्न मोस्ट अमिनदेवी ग्रुप ऑफ आइलैंड्स. ठीक है, तो ये इनकरेक्ट है. ओनली टू बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. ऑल राइट, एंड द नेक्स्ट इज यस नोमैडिक एलिफेंट एक्सरसाइज. यस, कहाँ? मंगोलिया के साथ में होता है. उलन बटोर में हुआ था 2025 में. ठीक है, बायलैटरल एक्सरसाइज है ये, मिलिट्री एक्सरसाइज मंगोलिया के साथ इंडिया का. लास्ट क्वेश्चन, इट इज रिलेटेड टू GLP, ग्लूकाजन लाइक पेप्टाइड रिसेप्टर एगोनिस्ट. ठीक है, क्या है देखते हैं. GLP-1 रिसेप्टर एगोनिस्ट सच एज सेमाग्लूटाइड आर इंक्रीजिंगली यूटिलाइज्ड फॉर क्रोनिक वेट मैनेजमेंट. अभी देखा होगा आपने करण जौहर और बाकी भी कई सारे एक्टर्स हैं, राम कपूर, उन्होंने बहुत ज़्यादा वेट लूज़ किया हुआ है. तो ये कैसे कर रहे हैं? ऐसा बोला जा रहा है कि कोई एक पर्टिकुलर ट्रीटमेंट ली जा रही है, स्पेशली GLP-1 weight management due to their ability to cross the blood brain we can say barrier and suppress the appetite. Okay, this is correct. These pharmacological let's say agents induce weight loss by delaying gastric emptying and modulating hypothalamia neurons involved in energy homeostasis. This is explaining it. Okay, so we can say A is the correct answer here. So these are the current affairs question. So try to solve these MCQs, these tests, and do register for next Panchsutra test. Thank you.
So welcome to the discussion of the economy section of the Panchsutra 1, the questions that had been asked. So the sequence of the question was 31 to 40 and 86 to 90, and we'll see the discussion to the questions which have been asked. So the first question which appeared in the economy section in Panchsutra 1 was, consider the following statements regarding the annual survey on unincorporated sector enterprise. So ASU SE survey is one of the most important survey to know about the performance of informal or unorganized sector in terms of the employment also, as far as the gross value per enterprise is concerned. So that is why this is an important thing which we need to know about the particular ministry under which this particular survey is being done. What are the specific things which are to be included and which are excluded in this particular survey. So the first statement, it is conducted annually by the Ministry of MSME. This is incorrect, because see, although unincorporated enterprise, you feel that okay, MSME is largely unincorporated enterprise, but it is done by NSO, National Statistical Office, under MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The survey includes data collection on various parameters such as employment. This is correct, and this particular employment data is actually used in the periodic labor force survey data, PLFS data, about the unemployment rate, labor force participation rate, or the worker population ratio. Production and fixed assets of the unincorporated sector. Unincorporated sector basically means those which are largely informal. Okay, this is correct statement. The ASU SE covers only the manufacturing and services sector and excludes the agricultural sector. This is also correct. So ASU SE's particular survey does not include any agricultural related activity. It is only related to manufacturing, trade and services. So this particular statement is correct. 2 and 3 are correct. B is the correct answer for question number 31. So the question number 32 says, with reference to the right to repair portal, consider the following statements. It is an initiative of the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. This is correct. So basically India wants to promote, it wants to extend the end life usage. It wants to elongate the total life cycle of the product by ensuring that people should try to get their devices, gadgets, any appliances repaired rather than buying it new. How that is possible? To ensure that by ensuring that the components which are there and the repair centers, all things are readily available. Recently a particular index was also created, repairability index. Repairability index. So the idea is how easily those equipments can be repaired, so that those equipment can be again used rather than again buying things for new, because obviously that is resource wastage. They want to optimize resource usage. This is a correct statement. This portal also provides services for electronic and digital products. This is correct. So the mobile phones, electronic gadgets, tablets, laptops, computers, they want to promote by ensuring that they are easily repaired rather than purchasing it for afresh. It aims to reduce electronic waste by encouraging repair and reuse. All the three statements are correct. D is the correct answer for question number 32. Question number 33, liberalized remittance scheme. This is related to outward remittance. Outward remittance. When Indians want to take forex outside India. Okay. So it was introduced by the Reserve Bank of India in 2004. This is correct. Under the LRS, all resident individuals, this is correct, including minors, are freely permitted to remit up to $250,000 annually. This is correct. Remittance can be made only for acceptable current account transaction. No, there is no bifurcation or specific restriction that the remittance can only be done for current account transaction, like paying hospital bills or travel related payments, or it could be educational payments. It can also be done for certain fixed asset buying, like buying properties or investment done in US into US stock exchanges. These are capital investments. Still they are also allowed under the liberalized remittance scheme. There is no such differentiation. So first and second statement are only correct. A is the correct answer for question number 33. Question 34 says, what is the purpose of robot tax? So we know that the age of artificial intelligence and in future robotics would be taking up the main work, and that would displace work, manpower. So this concept talks about a situation where those specific organization, enterprises which are employing artificial intelligence or actually using robotics, they should be charged with something, so that the income, those who are getting displaced, they can get certain unemployment allowance. This kind of payment should be funded out of this type of tax. It is basically to fund universal basic income for displaced worker due to use of automation and AI. This is also still a conceptual stage. Basically they want to fund out of a corpus, they want to create it, so that those displaced worker, they should get something as an unemployment allowance kind of a thing, a kind of universal basic income. D is the correct answer for question number 34. Question number 35, which of the following statements correctly describe the term Preston curve in economics? So Preston curve is a graphical representation that shows relationship between countries' per capita income and its average life expectancy. It says that as the per capita income increases, this is the per capita income on x-axis, life expectancy also increases. However, it gets saturated after a high income status, the per capita income getting beyond $30,000, it starts saturating. However, it is directly proportional up to some point. This is Preston curve. A is the correct answer for question number 35. Question number 36, sticky inflation. So it refers to a phenomena where price do not adjust quickly to changes in supply and demand. Sticky inflation could be in case of certain food articles, where even though supplies are readily made available, still the inflation persists. That is a kind of sticky inflation where the prices, the inflationary gap is not reduced despite demand getting managed. To address sticky inflation, central bank usually increases. How can they lower interest rate? This is incorrect. So, first statement is only correct, 36A is the correct answer. Question number 37. Consider the following statements about the overnight index swap. This is a kind of a derivative instrument. So, overnight index swap, don't get confused that the tenor of that particular swap is only limited to 1 day. Actually, it is the interest rate which is locked to the overnight lending rates like MIBORs, Mumbai Interbank, overnight interbank lending rates. But the period of contract may be 1 day, 1 month, or even can go beyond 1 month. But the adjustment of interest rate happens to be over every single day, like it is compounding daily. So, the interest rates are changed on a daily basis depending upon the MIBORs and all these things. The interest rates, interbank interest rates, overnight interest rates, but the contract period, the contract tenor can be beyond 1 day. Technically, this is largely beyond 1 day only. So, the first statement is it is an interest rate swap, obviously because that is an index swap, exchanging a fixed rate of for an overnight floating rate. This is the idea behind interest rate swap, that two parties, which one party wants a fixed interest rate, other party is demanding floating exchange rate, but they are not getting it from the banks, then they enter into interest rate swaps where the parties which are entering into swaps, they are funding the floating. Suppose fixed exchange rate, they are getting fixed exchange rate, but want floating exchange rate, they get that thing from the other party. So, this is how A and B. A wants fixed, B wants floating, but it is getting fixed, it is getting floating, they both exchange. Okay, sorry, they both exchange like this. This is the interest rate swaps. So, this is correct. OIS contracts, this is talking about the contract, not the interest rate, are typically used by central bank to influence short term interest rate in the economy. This is correct. And OIS contracts tenure is always limited to 1 day. No, the compounding happens over 1 day, but that is not limited to only 1 day. This is incorrect. 1 and 2 statement are only correct. C is the correct answer for question number 37. Question 38, anchor investor. Anchor investor is a kind of qualified institutional buyer who invests in public issue of shares before the issue opens to the general public. The idea is they want to ensure that IPO successfully concludes, because if the IPO is not subscribed, say I guess the limit is 80%, if there is not 80% subscription, then the IPO is deemed to be cancelled. To ensure that this is not cancelled, anchor investors buy it in advance. Okay, this is B. 38, B is the correct answer. 39, talking about the tariff rate quota. Tariff rate quota. So, basically it allows a specified quantity of imports at a reduced tariff rate with higher tariffs applied to quantities exceeding the quota. So, specific quota, suppose India is exporting raw cotton to US. So, they would say that okay, up to 100 tons of cotton, there is a reduced quota, there is a reduced import tariff which the US would levy at a rate of say 2%. But beyond, if India exports more than 100 ton, then 20% rate would be ensured. That is tariff rate quota, that is compliant to WTO. 39, C is the correct answer. 40th. Consider the following statements. A derivative is a financial instrument whose value is derived from the value of one or more underlying variables like interest rates, it could be shares or stocks, it could be commodities, etc. These are the underlying assets. Okay, it could be real estate prices also. Okay, so this is how the different levels of derivatives are created. So, first is correct, insurance products are also there. Derivatives value can change based on movement in interest rates, this is also correct, but that is only limited to those rates like interest rate, overnight interest swaps, like the preceding question. But that is one type of derivative. First statement is a generalized statement, second statement is a specific statement talking about one set of derivative. So, B is the correct answer, as both the statements are correct, but second statement is not explaining the statement 1. Coming to question number 86. So, with reference to the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication SWIFT. So, it accounts for clearing and settling the cross border financial transaction? No, it is only encrypted messaging system. Encrypted messaging system, like there is a cross border financial settlements which has to take place. Suppose the PNB Bank of Mumbai branch wants to settle a particular debit note from Singapore, Bank of Singapore for example, then the communication should be secured whether this particular bill, whether this is valid, the transactions are authenticated or not, then SWIFT messaging system is used. It is not meaning that it is clearing or settling the cross border transaction, it is only ensuring that the messaging system, the communication is more encrypted and authorized. So, first is incorrect. It is governed by international financial institutions like World Bank, IMF. No, this is a cooperative based organization which is all located in Belgium. There are many international financial organizations which are the members of SWIFT. This is incorrect. Both the statements are incorrect. How many, which of them are correct? None. Neither one nor two. 86, D is the correct answer. 87th question. Consider the following statements about Employees Deposit Link Insurance Scheme, EDLI scheme. So, this is administered by the EPFO, this is correct. It covers all organizations registered under the EPF and MP Act 1952, this is also correct, largely the formal organization. The maximum benefit under the EDLI scheme is 7 lakh, not 5 lakh. This is incorrect. So, first and second are only correct, A is the correct answer for question number 87. Question number 88. Domestic systemically important bank or too big to fail banks. They are considered as too big to fail due to their size, interconnectivity and importance to the economy. This is correct. If these banks fail, that would trigger a mass bank run and the confidence in the banking system would utterly collapse. So, they are considered to be too big to fail. In India, there are 3 DSIPs which are categorized by the Reserve Bank of India, that is announced every year. Currently, it is the State Bank of India, the ICICI Bank and the HDFC Bank. Okay. The Reserve Bank of India identifies DSIPs on annual basis based on set of predefined criteria. This is correct, like number of bank accounts, what is the volumes of transaction, what is the total credits, what is the deposit mobilized. There are many more things, number of branches there. Okay. So, these things are the parameters. Private scheduled commercial banks in India can also be categorized as DSIPs. This is correct. Currently, ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank are actually private scheduled commercial bank. They are also considered as DSIPs. All the 3 statements are correct. D is the correct answer for question number 88. Question number 89, Unified Lending Interface. So, this was the last of the 3 new trinity, UPI, ULI, all these things that the government had talked, JAM, UPI and ULI, the 3 trinity. One was all about the digitization, UPI was all about the financial transaction and ULI is all about the ensuring the DPI, the digital public infrastructure for credit, how the loans, the information related to loan, how that should flow. It should also include the non-commercial information, the information which are not just related to CIBIL score like financial transactions, rather they should also include information like what is the trade capacity of the enterprise, what are the assets which are owned by the enterprise, what are the different fixed assets, all these things are also incorporated all together so that the credit worthiness can be assessed in a more proper manner. So, it is an initiative by the RBI to streamline loan application process for consumer and businesses. This is correct. It allows borrowers to compare loan offers from multiple banks and financial institutions in real time. This is also correct. So technically it is not just the banks which will get the information for the particular the loanee or the person who has asked for loan. Even the person who wants to take the loan, they can also compare different loans from the way they hold the asset. Suppose a particular egg seller, he has a transaction, he is doing transactions based on UPI, but he has very good transactions. The volumes of transactions are very good. He also holds assets in terms of land in some cities and some other areas which have high net worth. So in that case, the particular person can be given loan, and that particular person can also assess which particular bank is giving him or her the best offer. So this is correct. Both the statements are correct. C is the correct answer for question number 89. Question number 90. With reference to the perpetual bond, consider the following statements. They are fundraising instruments that do not carry any maturity date. This is correct. They are till eternity. There is no principal which is paid at the end of expiry because the expiry never happens. These bonds have an obligation to pay interest and are not required to repay the debt. This is also correct. Additional tier 1 bonds are a kind of perpetual bond. These are also correct. All the three statements are correct. D is the correct answer for this particular question. So that concludes all the questions which were asked from the economy section in Panchsutra 1. Question of science and technology questions which were asked in the Panchsutra 1. So the questions which appeared in the paper was from question number 41 to 50. A total of 10 questions were asked. So we will see the questions and also the discussions to those questions. So the first question was 41st question. Consider the following statement regarding the neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means the brain wires can adjust automatically. There is no hard wiring in brain. It keeps on adjusting with the experiences in life. So it refers to the brain's ability to modify its structure and function by forming new neural connections throughout life in response to learning and experiences. This is correct. So there is no such thing as brain is hardwired. It can be molded the way experiences and learning happens to along with the life. So that creates those neural networks, and they keep on creating. Old things are removed, new things are created, older things are again rearranged. This is neuroplasticity. This is correct. It alters the strength of synaptic transmission between neurons. This is correct. So the way the end of neurons, how they are connected through synaptic connection. There is synaptic gap, but they also adjust as the neuroplasticity happens with time. This is a correct statement. Both the statements are correct. C is the correct answer for question number 41. Coming to question number 42, consider the following statements regarding epigenetics. So epigenetics means that they can change the gene expression without altering the DNA. Without altering the DNA. So the idea is, whatsoever the experiences, whatsoever level of hormones, stress and all these things, they switch on or switch off a specific gene expression. Gene is that particular thing that leads to certain trait which are observed. These are part of DNA, but these are not altered by way of any genetic engineering or genetic editing. Rather, epigenetics talks about these things which are altered by certain environmental factors such as diet, stress or sleep. All these things, they lead to certain switching on or switching off a particular gene and leading to certain change in observed behavior. So second statement is correct, but that is not altering the DNA. Second statement is correct. 42B is the correct answer. Question number 43. Consider the following statements regarding molecular jackhammer. So basically this type of novel invention ensure that the cancer, those malign cancer cells, they can be destroyed. The tumor cells, they can be destroyed by way of throwing light. If the light is thrown, they vibrate to a such frequency that leads to destruction of the cell membrane of those tumor cells, the cancerous tumor cells. So the jackhammers are a class of fluorescent synthetic dyes that is used for medical imaging. Earlier this was the correct thing. So actually this particular type of dye, there was a type of dye which was actually devised. It was used for medical imaging, but it was found out that if a particular wavelength, which is the near infrared, just beyond the visible light, but that is not exactly infrared. If that particular wavelength of light is actually thrown to those particles, they start vibrating to such speed that they start damaging the cells. The cell membranes are broken. Using this technique, those particular cancerous cells can be destroyed. Okay, they can act as molecular motor that can produce mechanical action inside cancer cell. So they start vibrating, just like if I ask you the way the trimmers work, if you have seen how trimmers work, they start vibrating because of certain crystals, the way these motors vibrate. In the same manner, these particular compounds, they start vibrating when they get excited, and these vibrations can actually, if they are actually put into those cancerous cell, they can damage those particular cancer cell, and this would mean the particular tumors can be neutralized. They can be activated by near infrared light. Infrared light, that is beyond 750 nanometer wavelength, but that is not exactly infrared, just near, but that is not visible. Since visible light has less penetrability, the level of penetration of visible light is less, but near infrared light has a larger, higher penetrability. So that is why this is near infrared light. This is incorrect. 1 and 2 statements are correct. A is the correct answer for question number 43. Question number 44. In the context of nuclear reactor, criticality is a situation when the reaction is self-sustaining. So the chain reaction is controlled and it starts a particular reaction which is self-sustaining, where the neutron is released. One neutron knocking off the particular the uranium 235, then it releases barium and krypton, these are released, and 3 neutrons are released. Then some of the neutrons are absorbed. Those neutrons are absorbed by the moderators or the control rods, basically control rods are up, and then again only one neutron again goes into the next cycle of reaction, and this is how the chain reaction starts happening on its own. That particular point is known as criticality. B is the correct answer for question number 44. 45. Smart proteins, basically these types of proteins are a way to actually to get an alternative out of to be an alternative for those animal based proteins, because animal based protein are in a way they are considered to be ethically cruel and all these things. So that is why these plant based protein are being tweaked. So these are alternative protein produced using technologies such as plant based formulations, fermentation and lab grown cells. This is correct. These proteins are promoted as a sustainable alternative to conventional animal based protein sources. This is correct. Smart proteins aim to reduce environmental pressure such as greenhouse gas emission and land use associated with livestock production. So in a way they want to reduce the carbon footprint without compromising on the total essential amino acids. See, animal based protein has all the amino acids, be it the egg, be it the milk, be it the flesh. However, the plant based protein lack all the essential amino acids, but smart proteins would try to mimic those animal based proteins, but without relying on those livestock supply. This is correct. All the 3 statements are correct. D is the correct answer for question number 45. Question number 46. Consider the following statements about the very short range air defense system, VSHORADS. So it is developed by DRDO. Obviously these are defense things. It is a man portable air defense system. This is correct. Basically these are handheld in a way to neutralize any ballistic or swarm attack by drones, but that is manually. It has a maximum range of 6 to 8 kilometers. This is correct. Obviously this is man held portable device, and obviously that would be not so heavy. So all the 3 statements are correct. D is the correct answer for question number 46. Coming to question number 47, with reference to the development of lab grown blood vessels. So lab grown blood vessels are grown through stem cells which are extracted from that particular person. Why? Because these blood vessels are readily accepted by the person's immune system. They are not rejected as a foreign particle, that is not considered an antigen, and they have larger larger probability of acceptability within the persons, within that particular patient. Okay. It is developed using stem cells and biodegradable material, this is correct. These vessels have potentially lower risk of immune rejections during transplantation, this is correct. When any external or any external organ or vessels are transplanted, the highest risk is about the immune rejections. The immune cells, the T killer cells, they can attack those organs and they damage it in a way they can potentially be harmful for the patient. But these particular vessels are grown using person's own stem cells, they can be accepted by the person's immune system and have higher probability of acceptance within the body. Both the statements are correct. C is the correct answer for question number 47. 48. A Bose-Einstein condensate is formed when a group of bosons are one of the fundamental particles, other being the fermions. Bosons basically means the force carriers, they are the force carriers like photons. Okay. They are cooled to temperatures close to absolute zero, causing them to occupy the same quantum state, this is correct. So, the idea is different particles, they are basically a gas of different elements, they are cooled to near near 0 Kelvin, near 0 Kelvin temperature. So, what happens at that particular time, at that particular temperature, they fuse together and act as if they are a particular super atom. So, that particular super atom has single quantum state. It is not that the spin quantum number which generally changes in those particular elements, that particular atom has all the quantum number which signifies as if they are one unit. That is Bose-Einstein condensate, that is one of the state of matter apart from solid, liquid, gas and plasma. This is correct. In a Bose-Einstein condensate, the particle behave collectively. Why? Because they fuse together, their quantum states remain one, like the orbit number, the azimuthal momentum and the spin quantum number, all the N, L, ML, MS. These are the set of 4 quantum numbers. They all appear same for all these fusing unit. It looks as if that is a single atom. Okay. So, that is why this is considered to be a particular state of matter and they behave collectively as a single quantum entity with identical properties. This is correct, and that is why second statement is explaining why Bose-Einstein condensate is formed at absolute zero, close to absolute zero, and they occupy a same quantum state. Why? Because they fuse together. So, both the statements are correct and statement 2 is explaining statement 1. Question number 49, statement 1 says pulsars are rapidly rotating neutron stars that emit a beam of electromagnetic radiations at regular interval. This is correct. So, pulsars are a type of neutron stars which rotate and they emit electromagnetic radiations, basically gamma radiations. Okay. The radiation from pulsars are observed as a periodic pulses because the star's rotation causes the emission beam to sweep across the earth. This is correct. It looks as if that is a lighthouse. You must have seen a lighthouse which has a particular focus light and it rotates. And what happens if you are observing from a particular point, you will see that after a particular interval of time it is again coming to you. In the same manner, pulsar is rotating. Pulsar has a sound, it has gamma radiation, and then when you observe it from the earth or any particular observatory observes it from earth, it looks as if it is pulsating, but actually it is continuously emitting, but with reference to earth, when it faces earth, it comes after a period of time. That is why it is pulsar, it is pulsating. So, both the statements are correct and statement 2 is explaining statement 1. 49A is the correct answer. And the last question which was asked from the science and technology section was about the HbA1c test. So, HbA1c test is all about knowing about the glucose blood sugar levels over a preceding 3 to 4 months. So, the idea is about what is the level of diabetes, whether the person is pre-diabetic, diabetic or highly diabetic. So, idea is all about the level of sugars, blood sugar level. Okay. So, this is all about the questions from the science and technology in Panchsutra 1. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is your discussion of history section of Panchsutra test 1. So questions of this test in where history have been covered from 21 number to 30 and then from 81 to 85. So we will start with the question number 21, where first question of history section is discussing about or asking about the Orientalist tradition. So there were various ideologies that developed during the colonial period. First about the Orientalists, then Anglicists, then utilitarianism. Okay? So this question is regarding this Orientalist tradition. So we will see the statements that have been asked in this question one by one. So question statement 1, it was with this political vision that Fort William College at Calcutta was established. This is regarding the Orientalist tradition, which is correct in its nature, because this Orientalist tradition, the ideology of Orientalist tradition was particularly aimed at study of Indian languages and tradition, which was the aim of Fort William College at Calcutta as well. So this statement becomes correct. Also with this Orientalist tradition, we also see the development of other institutions like Asiatic College of Kolkata, then this Sanskrit College, then Calcutta Madrasa that we have seen in that developed in the colonial period was also one of the examples of this Orientalist tradition. So here first statement becomes correct in that sense. Second statement is asking that Orientalism in its practice in its early phase had been seen under the practices of Lord Cornwallis, which is wrong, because it was the policies of the Orientalism is particularly related to Warren Hastings, and Lord Cornwallis is particularly related to abandoning of this policy of Orientalism. So second statement here also becomes here becomes incorrect. Okay. Third statement that this Orientalist tradition has provided an implicit justification for the paternalism of the Raj is also incorrect in nature, because this is more majorly related to the upliftment of the Indian language and tradition, not related with the paternalism of Raj, which is majorly related with the Anglicist ideology, which was promoted by Lord Cornwallis during the period. So second and third statement are wrong here. So one only will be the option here. So A is the answer. Okay? Next question 22 is regarding this Karachi session of Congress, because Congress session has been often asked in the UPSC examination. So this question becomes very important in that regard. So if you see the statements given here and the command that this question is asking is around the National Economic Program that has been proposed in the Karachi session of Congress. So Karachi session of Congress has two major resolutions. First is this regarding National Economic Program, and second is regarding the resolution on fundamental rights. So if you see the options given here, so first and second options are related to this program of National Economic Program. So these two, first and second, will become correct, but this third option given here, the right to form association, is majorly related to the resolution on fundamental rights. So first and second are correct and third is not. So option correct here will be first and second. So A is the answer. Okay? Next question is regarding the revolt of 1857, and there were various major leaders that were related to this particular revolt of 1857, which we know that Rani Lakshmi Bai, then Nana Sahib, then Ahmadullah Shah and Bijris Qadr, and many more like from Bihar, Kunwar Singh was there. So there were many important leaders were related to different regions of the country, particularly in the northern part of the India. So in this particular statement, this is very easy to go question, because if you know the answer, then only you can attempt such question, or otherwise please leave such question. So if you see the option given here, that first Ahmadullah Shah is related to Faizabad, not Lucknow. He was a Maulvi from Faizabad, and he was related to the leader to the region of Faizabad, not Lucknow. And to Bijris Qadr, which is related to which has been shown as related to Faizabad, is not correct, because he was related to the Lucknow and he was the deposed son of Wajid Ali Shah. So यहाँ पे first and fourth options have been interchanged in that sense. So option second and third, if you see Bakht Khan was from Bareilly, is correct, and Nana Sahib from Kanpur is also correct. So second and third will be correct here. So B is the answer here. Very easy and direct question, direct nature of the question this is. So if you know the leaders and their regions, you can attempt such question very easily. Okay, next question is regarding the various socio-religious movements that was running in parallel to the colonial government during the freedom movement, you can say. So if you see the what we do in such paragraph type of question, we try to identify the keywords. If you identify the keyword and understand the which of the following terms are associated with which of the following religious movement, you can easily attempt this question and answer this question. If you see that this one of this religious movement was trying to take inspiration from karma, philosophy of Upanishads, yoga and Vedanta school of thought. If you see such type of keyword, immediately your mind should understand that this is related to theosophical movement. So D is the answer here, and this was a movement which was kind of very held this spaceful relationship between the persons, God and prayer, revelation. So these are very much related to the philosophy of Hinduism. So answer here will be D. Okay? Next question is regarding the Champaran Satyagraha, very famously associated with one of the first three important movements of the Gandhiji. So if you see the statement that has been given in this question, it was first hunger strike undertaken by Gandhiji. It's not correct, because among the three major events or three major Satyagraha that has been taken by the Gandhiji in initial phase of the movement was Ahmedabad mill strike, then Champaran Satyagraha and then Khera Satyagraha. So first that this hunger strike thing, or the first hunger strike that were undertaken by Gandhiji was related to Ahmedabad mill strike, not Champaran. So here first statement itself becomes incorrect. Okay? Government set up this Indigo Commission to inquire into the system of indigo production. It also not correct here, because this particular Indigo Commission is related to the Indigo riot or revolt of Bengal, not related to the Champaran Satyagraha. You can definitely confuse in such kind of question, because commission or committee was also established in under this Champaran Satyagraha, in which Gandhi was made a member, but this Indigo Commission is particularly related to the Indigo revolt, not with the Champaran Satyagraha. Okay? So for second statement here also becomes incorrect in that sense. It led to the abolition of Teen Kathiya system, which is correct, with the passing of Champaran Agrarian Act of 1918, and the committee that we have talked about, that of which Gandhiji was a member, had led to this passing of this act, and which led to the abolition of Teen Kathiya system. So third statement here becomes correct in that sense. So 3 only will be the option here. So C is the answer. Okay, next question is around this assertion region question, around this topic of Surat split, okay, which is majorly related to the split of moderates and extremists during the freedom movement, right? So if you see the first statement that has been given here, that moderates won the session at Surat to exclude the Tilak from the presidency is correct. So first statement is correct. Now see the second statement, a leader from the host province could not be session president, is also correct. If you see that this demand of moderates to held the session at Surat was to exclude the Tilak. Tilak was from the Bombay province, his home province was Bombay. So the Surat mein agar session hota, then he would have excluded from the presidency, and that was the motive of moderates. And extremists wanted the session to be held at another region, so that Tilak and or Ras Behari Bose, Tilak or Lajpat could be the president, but moderates wanted Ras Behari Bose as the session president, so they wanted to conduct the session at Surat, and which eventually was there, because this partition of Congress happened at Surat. So this was one of the motive of moderates to held the session, Congress session at the Surat, and because of this provision that a leader from the host province could not be the session president, which led to the exclusion of Tilak. So second statement is justifying the statement 1. So here both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of 1. So A will be the answer here. Okay. Next question is regarding this Bevel plan, which happened for the cooperation of Indian cooperation of the during the World War that were going during the period. So this was another motive of the colonial power to get the cooperation of Indian during the war, and for that they also wanted this reform in the Government General Executive Council, which they could not get because Indians at that time was very high in this freedom movement thing, and they couldn't accept the thing that Bevel was trying to implicit on them. Okay? So see the provisions that have been put in the Bevel plans. Okay, so first is that caste Hindu and Muslim were to have equal representation. This is correct. This is one of the provisions of the Bevel plan. So first is correct. Second is that Governor General was to have his veto on the advice of ministers. This kind of colonial things had to be there. So second is also correct. And third, that all members of the executive member councils were to be Indians. This itself seems very contradictory in nature, right? Because the members of council cannot be all Indians. This could not be a plan of a colonial government, right? So majorly all members had to be Indians, but except Governor General and Commander in Chief. So third statement here becomes incorrect in that sense. So 1 and 2 will be the answer here. So A is the answer. Okay? Okay. Next question is regarding this ancient history question, term based question that UPSC often try to ask, and this is one of the theories which is related to the Kautilya's Saptanga theory, in which 7 states have been divided by Kautilya, and the appointment of ministers or amatyas are according to his theories. Okay? So if you see the state terms that have been asked in this question is regarding the Dharmopada and Kamopada Suddha. Okay? These two terms are basically related to the specific test that has been written by the Kautilya in his Arthashastra for the appointment of amatyas in Maurya's administration. This Dharmopada Suddha is related to the religious tests. Okay? Basically related to the appointment of amatyas in civil and criminal justice. Okay? And this Kamopada Suddha is basically known as this love test, okay, for the pleasure gardens in Maurya's administration. So these two are related to the D, a specific test. So D is the answer here. If you know such terms and remember such terms, it will be easy for you to attempt such question in your examination. Okay? Next question is regarding the society under Harsa's administration. Okay, so there are three statements given here in this question. This is regarding the socio-economic period or socio-religious period or socio-cultural thing that happens during the ancient period of our history. So we will see the statements given here. The Sudras were generally agriculturists and their status improved. Their status improved not in comparison to the you can say Brahmanas or Kshatriyas, but in the comparison to untouchables. Okay? And because there were lot many expenses land because of the cultivation that were going in the period. So because Brahmanas were expending the land over the period, and they wanted someone to cultivate their land because they could not themselves cultivate all the land. So they tried to hire the persons from the lower varnas like Sudras, and because of which they got some kind of economic independence, Sudras, and because of which they got some kind of status improvement in their society. So this is kind of a statement which is correct in nature. So first is correct. Hyun Sang mentioned 3 ways of disposal of dead during Harsa period, you can say. So there were 3 kind of dead burial that were going in the period, which is also correct in the nation, because first was this cremation, second was this water burial, and third was this exposure in woods. So there were 3 kind of burial system, or you can say disposal of dead that were going during the Harsa period. So this is also correct, which has been mentioned by Hyun Sang, who was a very famous traveler, Chinese traveler during the period of Harsa. Okay? So second is also correct. Remarriage of widow was not permitted among the higher caste. If you see the condition of society or women during the period of Gupta and Harsavardhana dynasty, you see there is a kind of deterioration of the condition of women, like Swayambara has been declined. dowry cases had been increased, then sati was had come into the picture, then this remarriage of widow which was earlier into the scene was kind of removed, not permitted. So third statement also becomes correct in that sense. So answer here will be D, 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Next question is regarding the Chalcolithic age. Okay, another question from the ancient history. We have to know many things about the prehistory, proto-history and history as well. So try to cover as many themes that are there in your history chapter, because it can be asked from any of the sections. Okay? So if you see the first statement here, that this age, Chalcolithic age, has shown the first use of painted pottery, which is a correct statement. Okay? So first is correct. Chalcolithic period, practice /word or jhum cultivation is also correct, but they have not been acquainted with the burnt bricks. Burnt bricks are majorly related to the you can say civilization or culture of an urban society, but Chalcolithic period or Chalcolithic age was majorly a rural society. Urban society, if you remember, it is related to Harappan period, right, which was related to the system of burnt bricks. All the buildings that have been built in the Harappan society, which was an urban society, has been related to burnt brick. But because the Chalcolithic, with the Chalcolithic period, the society or the culture, the urbanization has kind of declined and the rural society came into the picture. So the use of burnt bricks became very less or nowhere in the picture. So because of that, and they made to use of wattle, then they made to use of the thatched roofs there. So there were no use of burnt bricks in the Chalcolithic age. So third statement here becomes incorrect. So 1 and 2 is correct here. So A will be the answer. Okay. Next question is regarding this medieval period administrative structure, which has kind of replaced the basic feud system to the professional khel system, and this particular administrative system or organization is known as pike system, which was very famous in Ahom kingdom, and very famously known ruler during this period who had tried to do this was Pratap Singh. So this is another information that you can note down. And what happened that earlier there was this system of feud system, जो किंगशिप बेस्ड सिस्टम जो चल रहा था होम्स किंगडम में, what he tried to do was to change this administrative organization into a खेल based system, which was a kind of task oriented system, जो कि एक task कोई करेगा, एक task कोई करेगा. This was one of the kind of organization that Ahom kingdom was trying to establish during the period. This was a kind of labor system that they were trying to establish, or for the perfect you can say administrative system, or you can say for a functional administrative or civil system, so or military system you can say. So because of which the Ahom kingdom survived also very long. So pike system is very important for your examination also. So B is the answer here. Okay. Next question is regarding this kingdom of Hyderabad. So there were many kingdoms after the decline of Mughal empire that took arise all around the Indian subcontinent, you can say, like kingdom of Awadh, Bengal, Hyderabad, Rajput kingdom, Jat kingdoms, right. So this question is regarding this kingdom of Hyderabad, which had been established by Nizamul Asaf Shah Jah, right. So he has kind of first established this kingdom of Hyderabad, and independently from the Mughal empire. In all the practical senses it was independent, but if you see that this statement that is regarding this minting of coins becomes incorrect in nature, because minting of coins was still done in the name of Mughal empire, and even khutbah was also kind of played in the name of Mughal empire itself. So these two things was done. It was kind of showing some kind of respect to the Mughal empire even after the establishment of the kingdom by Nizam. So apart from that, for all the practical purposes, you can say, like by conducting wars or signing treaties or making appointments in his particular kingdom, he was all independent. But for the, you can say, for showing respect or kind of sovereignty, he was kind of still minting the coins in his region in the name of Mughal Empire. So this part of the statement becomes incorrect in that sense. So statement 1 becomes incorrect. Hyderabadi administrative system incorporated the indigenous power into a patron-client relationship is correct. So because of which the kingdom becomes very strengthened during the period and Nizam could act very efficiently. So second is correct. So B is the answer here. Okay. So next question is regarding Sikandar Lodi. Okay, another question from the medieval history, and because personality based questions are also often asked in the UPSC examination. So specific information about all the personality you need to remember. So if you see that question here, 3 statements have been asked around the Sikandar Lodi. So if you see the first statement that Muhammad Shah, another Mughal ruler, Mughal ruler that had given this title of Khan Khana, this was not given to Sikandar Lodi, it was given to the Bahlol Lodi. Okay? So this statement becomes incorrect. If you know this particular information, you can attempt such statement. And second, that he found the city of Agra to serve the strategic base is correct. The city of Agra was found in 1504 by Sikandar Lodi. So second is correct. Mia Bhuat translated the Sanskrit Ausdhisas into the Persian language in his court. It's correct because Mia Bhuat was one of the minister of the Sikandar Lodi, and he kind of translated this Ausdhisas into the Persian language, and this was named as Tibbiya Sikandari. So third statement also becomes correct in that sense. So second and third will be correct here. So D will be the answer. Okay. So next question is regarding the Indian sculpture, and if you see the 3 statements that have been mentioned are totally different in context. They all are related to Indian sculpture but not single sculpture. So these kind of questions are often asked in the UPSC examination, that they will try to ask they will try to pick a theme and then ask different statements on that question also. So this is a kind of example of such kind of question. So if you see first statement, that earliest mention of Yakshi and Yaksha are the 2 kind of sculpture that are majorly related to all the 3 religions that have been mentioned in the ancient history, like Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism. Okay? So particularly this, the first example or the first mention of Yakshi or Yaksha had been found in this particular book Silappadikaram, Tamil text, is correct. So first statement here becomes correct. Pottery of the Mauryan period is generally referred to as painted graveware. Painted graveware is related to the period of Mahajanpada, not Mauryan period. Mauryan period के लिए सबसे famous pottery कौन सी है? Northern black polished ware. ठीक है? So NBPW is the painting which is very glossy in nature, is related to the Mauryan period, not PGW. So second statement here becomes incorrect. Sarnath school of sculpture has been characterized by the use of cream colored sandstone, particularly related or originated during the period of Gupta. Okay? So third statement here also becomes correct in that sense. So first and third is correct. So A will be the answer here. Okay? Okay. Last question of this history section, if you see, the different kind of martial arts have been mentioned in this particular question, and you have to correctly match, because 3 columns have been given here. So you have to understand that which of the, whether the regions that have been mentioned related to martial art are correct, whether the details mentioned in the martial art has been correct or not. So you have to match all the 3 things, and starting with the Parikhanda, which is related to the region of Bihar and majorly related to the caste of Rajputs. ठीक है? It is Bari is Khanda is basically related to the shield and sword tradition. If you can understand, because this is another kind of martial art tradition, so you can also understand what kind of equipment that have been used in such kind of place in the region of Bihar, and this is used in the Chhau dance is also correct. So first option here becomes correct. Second is that Thoda is related to Himachal Pradesh. Okay, this is correct, but this is not related to catching of belt. So second option here becomes incorrect because of the details, wrong details. And Kuttu Varsai, which is also known as empty hand silambam, is related to the region of Tamil Nadu. So second, this is correct, and it has been mentioned in the Sangam literature for the first time. It also correct. So third option become correct, first is correct, and in beyond wrestling is related to the region of Mizoram is also correct, but it has not divided the team into the Pahi and Sathi. Actually this two information has been interchanged here, because this Pasi and Sathi is related to the martial art of Thoda, and this catching of belt by wrestlers is related to the Imbion wrestling. So if you remember few details and try to mix and match also, you can guess this or answer this question very easily. So third and second and fourth becomes incorrect here, first and third is correct. So option here will be B, 1 and 3 only. Okay? So here we are ending the this section of the Panchsutra test 1, and hope you have understood the questions and answers given here, and for any doubt you can reach to the institution. Thank you so much. छूट क्यों नहीं रही है? कितने बजे